Hello, hello. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Tamau. It's Tuesday morning. Hey, 3D Code Warrior. And we just did a bunch of wrap up work yesterday. There are kind of two main goals coming up. It's get back to playtesting and ramp up marketing. I guess it's like prep for launch. And get back to playtesting is a combination of, at this point, it's probably just like get our work in and fix some bugs and then reach out to people. But prep for launch is everything else. And I think one of the most important things there is localization. I think that's what we're going to work on today, at least just for this morning. So there are two main goals for the next few months. Get back to playtesting and prep for launch. For this morning's stream, Adam is going to look into what localization work still has to be done. All right, yeah, let's do that. So I am on what, just main here? Yeah, I'm on main. And it should be up to date and everything. I don't know why there's a... What does that star 2 mean? What does that mean? Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Let's do get log -1. It doesn't say that I should push. And yeah, this is what's on the remote. Huh. All right, I don't know what that is. Hey, player. Well, yeah, I have this here, localization, and limiting the demo and everything, sure, whatever. I'll go find the document for this, my drive localization. And let's close out of probably everything else that we have here. Yeah. There was quite a lot of work to be done here. In fact, I should put this in its own entire tab. Is this done? Yeah, this is done. And spell data, get description call should have this directly in the transit. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna remove, I think, hey, Chef Halton. I'm gonna remove the source generator that we have for this. So I think all of this code is gonna get deleted. Man, I feel bad about this. Is Athletics? Yeah. Like we had tests and everything. Kevin wrote almost all of this stuff and it worked. It's just different from what I think we ended up wanting to do. How do I... Oh, reveal and finder. There we go. Okay, so I think everything in this folder we're probably getting rid of. Oh, we're probably getting rid of everything in the source generators folder. Having the worst day? What's going wrong? My day's pretty early so far, so I haven't really had a good or bad day necessarily. But I felt like it was 4 a.m. when Abby woke me up, and I was really worried because that's incredibly unusual. And then I look at my phone and it's like 6:40 instead. It's just so dark right now. Well, not now anymore. I mean, now it's 8:30, but it was so dark at 6 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. And I was like, why are you waking me in the middle of the night? But she wanted food and she still thinks that 6:40 is actually 7:40 and 8 o'clock is her feeding time normally. Are we keeping anything in here? Probably not. Probably I should look through the PR and see what all was added here. Yeah. Just general bad day. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope this week looks up for you because it is still early yet. Silly Catso doesn't know her times. Yeah, she can't check the clock. What's the point of clocks if the cats can't read them? Okay, so if we go look at source generators, or maybe just specifically this thing. Yep, we find it here. And then if I look at the history, we should find the PR this was made in. Here it is. And then if I look at the files from this, we should be able to figure out what I should probably be removing. So probably, yeah, everything in the source generators folder. And everything in the I18N folder. I want to have a link to how to make these in the future. Or at least an example of this. So I think I'm going to put this in my notes, but this is going to be just a private thing. No one will be able to see this. Yeah. source generators. Sorry, everyone. I can't type. This link is private, but it's an example for myself in the future of a source generator that we made for Skelecon. There. Okay. And then let's put that in deleted code as well. I think I have this somewhere here where I mentioned deleting this. Yeah. Delete them, add their code to deleted code. Probably need to modify game.csproj, remove the reference if we do this. Yeah, and hopefully if I hadn't done that, this would just fail. Source generator for localized messages. And then I guess remove the snippet as well. Remove the VS Code snippet I had for this. I know, I feel so bad. I was on a call with Kevin the other day when we were talking about the Weblate stuff, and I said, hey, do you think this was the right move? He said, yeah, he sounded fine. But the man was crying inside. CS proj out loud. There's no correct way to pronounce it. Well, I think it's naturally to say CS given that there are .cs files, and then proj as short for project. I've heard a lot of different things for shortened words, like this and this. And no matter how I say this, there's always someone saying you're saying it the wrong way. So some people say this as char, which is an English word to burn something, but it's pronounced care in character. So some people actually say care here. And I say enum here, I think by default, but that's not how it's pronounced in enumeration. So some people say enum. So yeah, for proj, I guess you could say like proj or something like that. But yeah. Okay, so the code was added here. In short, it was a way to manifest strings such that we could have named parameters, e.g. Deal damage, or like chance to deal damage, yeah. It would take a string with named parameters and turn them into a function with named parameters. Description equals this. Get description. Chance. Something like, yeah, this, and damage something like 5. These generated functions were wrappers around translate. The reasons we moved away from this were, 1, xGetText finds literal strings in the code base. We could have, yeah, so I guess we would have needed to have these search through the generated code. That appear within translate calls. But the translate calls were generated. So we either would need to find every string in the code base, even ones that shouldn't be localized, like color.from. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, this is going to be a little bit of documentation first. Then I'll get to the deletion. There'll be a bloodbath in here. You called me after that event. Xyletics, you have to understand. Adam's a monster. Maybe worth pointing out to the commit where you remove it, just because I think we made a couple of improvements later. If you want to have the end working version. Yeah, that's true. Well, I wonder how we'd find this if we didn't do that. Hey, William. 107 minutes in total. Love it. Want more? Excellent. It's exactly what we want. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really am. And I'm glad that the demo is in a state where I don't necessarily need to do a lot of heavy lifting with it. I think the expectations are set correctly. I think it ramps you up well enough. And I've watched a lot of people play it, and we've fixed a bunch of like small issues that have shown up. There's still some more things to do. And I'll do a bunch more playtesting too in the next few months. In fact, part of me thinks I haven't set launch yet, but I think it's going to be in March of 2026. And something that has just kind of always baffled me about game dev is, how do you know when you have enough? And enough gameplay, enough polish, enough whatever content, any other number of things. So now we're looking at about 3 months remaining, right? We're at the end of November. So you could maybe say it's 4 months or so, but yeah, we have about 3 months remaining. And now I'm wondering, is that enough time to do whatever enoughs there are above? And I think the answer is yes. Otherwise, I'd be pushing this even further. But yeah, I think the answer is yes. And then part of me, a distant part of me thought, is this too much time? Like, what if we get things done by the end of January? But I think there's always more we could do. And either way, just sitting on a fully completed game and just polishing things and being ready is also good. I can always do more marketing. I guess that's the other thing. Yeah. That even if we were completely done as of today, I could just do marketing up until launch. Although if I were done today, I'd probably bump this closer. Yeah, better finish earlier than late. Yeah, that's definitely true. So note, we did improve the code here and there. The commit where I'm removing, or the commit before the one where I remove this is this SHA. Okay. All right, so extracts literal strings in the code base that appear within translate calls, but the translate calls were generated. So we would have needed to find every string in the code base, even ones that shouldn't be localized like that, or have xgetText run on generated code. And what else? We're using Weblate to source translations, and Weblate only knows how to... Actually, I'm not even sure this is true. Like the default C# parameter syntax by default. 0 and 1. Is there another reason for this? Oh yeah. Adding the source generators to a given file was a decent amount of boilerplate. It required a new class, making the parent class partial, 2 imports, and then function calls at each translation site. I don't know if there's anything else, but yeah, so I think that's the gist of it. So now we go through and just delete the whole folder, I guess. Oh man. Wendy, how's it going? Welcome in. Thanks for the raid. How is everyone doing today? I think I saw Wendy yesterday around lunchtime. And I thought, it's this man's evening time. He's probably eating a supper or dinner right now, or whatever he calls it over there. There is this meme. I don't think I can show it on stream. It's actually sort of not family friendly, but it had a lot of Britishisms for what people say in English, and it was just a joke. And I play an FPS with my friends, and I still say Rudy Tooty point and shooty when I'm talking about we have to go kill somebody in the game. I don't know if Woody's ever seen that meme, but God, it cracks me up. Hey, Conan Graham. My friends do not find it funny. It's just me. The kind of thing I say for myself. Anyway, welcome in everyone. We're going to be focusing on localization stuff today. So in short, we have this site, weblate.scalaseller.com. And right now there's really not much there. But if I click this, so every string in the code base will eventually need a corresponding string in every other language that we support. And I want to support something like 8 languages. And even, I mean, I speak a little bit of French, but like I don't speak any German really. I know a couple of words, and kind of the same thing with Spanish, and I know almost no Korean. And then there's a whole bunch of other languages on there. So it's like, I can't do this work myself. I'm going to probably rely on some machine translations, but then this site will let other people provide translations. So other people could go in here and be like, oh, your party's walking to the portal, and type out a thing and click save and continue. And then that's it. They're done. I don't think Dutch is going to be on the list, because I think Dutch players are apparently fine playing games in English. So it's just not a top priority language. Read the Spanish string too. I did just read 2. See? There, done. Spanish, yeah. Also, hey, Stybo. Okay, so I want to get all of this stuff out of here. And yeah, I think we just delete the whole thing. God, this is sad. Oh, wait, we still need this. Oh, man, I'm glad I didn't just delete this. So whatever this uses, I also need to not delete. But this isn't even in a namespace, so I guess it's just this standalone program. Okay, so we can't delete the whole folder. And then these things are probably important. Yes, I would assume so. Okay, but these aren't checked in or anything. Yeah, these are generated. I'm used to it. Yeah, well, like I said, I did a little bit of research about this, and there are also a bunch of other Dutch people in chat. And the other Dutch people said, look, English is taught in schools. Yeah, when you play a game or when you go to a website, you might use Dutch if it's available, but you might just be fine with English. And unfortunately, I kind of have to generalize in this case because of the resources it takes to get another language supported. It's like, imagine you add a new ability to the game. I don't know, it's called Earthquake or something, and it says deals 5 earth damage to all enemies. This one string is now really 10 strings. And making it 11 or 12 or 40 strings just, yeah, it kind of adds to the burden of making any feature change in the game. I know no single language is contributing heavily to that. It's just the combination of all of them. All right, so I guess we don't delete this. So do we have any other internationalization stuff I need to get rid of? I think it was just source generators. And then I think anywhere that mentions source generators, which is this. Why does that still exist? What? This file doesn't even exist anymore. Oh, because I had it open? I'm confused. I don't know why this is popping up in the search results. Apparently this does exist. Oh, it does. Wait, what? I deleted the whole folder though. Oh, it's in tests. Okay, well now you're gone. All right, so now we search for this. This is going to be gone. And anywhere else. It's in the solution file. We probably could have removed this in a better way, but I'm just going to manually delete these things. So Indy, how goes game development? Or do you not want to answer? Because sometimes I raid somebody and I'm like, I don't want to talk. I just want to watch. I want to be a blob here. All right, let's delete that. Oh, this is the .old file, which I'm not even totally sure why that exists. And did this change anything else for us? No, it didn't. Don't we not check this in? We do check this in. Why do we check this in? Game.cs project.old? Going well. Lots going on. Working on some art this afternoon. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I look forward to checking out the game. I don't know if you played, I think we've talked about this a little bit, but Tears of the Kingdom. But every once in a while, Colgera's tune or the theme goes through my head. But it's based on Wind Waker. And now every time I see Wind Waker, I think of Windybeard. He said if the game's successful, he's going to change his name to Wind Waker Beard Games. I think it's a great idea. Going well? Since I changed time zones, I usually only get the last 5 minutes of your stream. Yeah, such is the problem of a global Twitch audience. I guess those extra 3 hours really do make a difference. All right, so we have one more reference to source generators, and it's here and it's in the test project. I think that's it. I'm doing something right? Yeah. I think it looks great already. I think the gameplay of a game on Twitch is always kind of hard to judge, even for fully released games. And actually, I just watched the Metroid Prime 4 trailer. I've been trying to think about what is my enjoyment of, like, I don't know if you call it Metroid Prime 4 a AAA game, or like a Mario game. Is that a AAA game? But anyway, I've been thinking about my enjoyment of this, and I watched the trailer and I just thought, I probably wouldn't have fun playing this. Like, I really like Samus as a character, and I really like the setting of a lot of the Metroid games, but I'm not really a big fan of FPS games. And I played Metroid Prime 1 and maybe 2, I'm not sure. And I didn't really like them that much. Although granted, you couldn't jump in those, and now you can jump in the new one. Big features being added by Nintendo. From a company that used to make Jumpman. I guess Jump Woman is one step too hard. Hey, Sorrow. I was not a fan of Metroids. Not even Super Metroid? Man, Super Metroid was great. Still love the music of that game. Were you a fan of idle games? Not really. So idle games were kind of weird in that I would play them out of addiction, I think. And then I realized all of the tropes of the genre that led to addiction. And this isn't just for me. Like, the whole point of an idle game is you've got to keep wanting to come back, especially if you're not really doing anything in the game. So it's a lot of just drip feeding, numbers go up. Much preferred what Castlevania did with the space. I really liked some of the Castlevania games too. I played so much of Circle of the Moon on the Game Boy Advance. And I know a lot of people really like Symphony of the Night. I played it after I played some other Castlevania games. So I still think it's a good game. I didn't get like gripped by it. And maybe I should give that another shot at some point. Okay, so I think we deleted everything. Let's try running this. Really simple adventure game with lots of upgrade and reward mechanics. RPG Light. Light is trademarked by me, Windy, so I will take a 5% royalty for every game sale you make. This is an idle light game. Am I pressing a key on my keyboard? Hold on a second. How did that happen? Oh, I must have been pressing P. These key switches are so light that sometimes I'm resting my hand on my keyboard and I don't realize I'm pressing a key. I'm just so one with my hardware that I'm using. 6%. Okay, you've managed to talk me up to 6%. I'll take it. Sucker. I was willing to settle for 5%, and I wasn't even telling the truth about the trademark. This guy will believe anything. Okay, so that's our diff. It's just a bunch of red and a tiny amount of green in the form of a README. Remove source generators from the code. So long code. We're no longer... Oh, I should do this on another branch. Get checkout -B more localization. So in tune with the key, you can trigger keys purely via proximity. You know, Windy, if you look at my keyboard section on Discord, so Darkstorm just got a new Korn keyboard, and then Rami commented, I have the same problem with my Korn. And if you scroll up, you'll see some other people talk about like, hey, I'm getting a Korn keyboard, or I'm getting a similar keyboard. So they're spreading. Before you know it, you'll look down on your desk and you'll be like, where'd all my keys go? Why do I only have 20 of them? Then you'll realize you're coding C# with literal fire coming out of your hands. I'm going to need a cup for your reference earlier. I'd say 6% is fair. What a keep. This man. Every once in a while, it'll be a Windy stream, and he'll just say bone mode and then start chuckling to himself. I wonder if this hits him with Keeb stuff. Gonna go the other way and have 3x the keys of normal key. Have you seen those? They exist. And they look so stupid. I don't know how to find them. Someone linked something the other day in Discord. I think it was Kevin, actually. And actually, yeah, let me see if I can find that. Yeah, this one. Look at this keyboard, Windy. Where's the picture? I want to see just the picture. Oh, come on. They must have like a... Okay, well, here's kind of good enough. It only sort of works. So it's like, okay, your normal QWERTY keyboard starts here and you got like caps lock and tab and everything. They just threw a whole bunch of symbols over here and stuff. And then this is only the left part of the keyboard. The right part, it's not really showing in these pictures, but you can see here they have like a copy key to the upper right of enter and paste and cut. I could see these being needed for accessibility. Like if you have a problem holding a key and pressing another, and I know some people do have that problem. So, okay, that's fine, but does the average person need this? Does the average person need 400 extra keys on their keyboard? That thing was crazy. Yeah. Needs way more keys. We're no longer using the source generators and have instead opted for direct translate calls. I wrote a bit in deleted code.md about this. Okay, so we go check that in. Commit. I'd be clicking those keys by accident literally 50 times a day. Yeah, pasting all sorts of random things. Hey, Hef. I think foot pedals probably have a place for most people typing. I don't own any myself. Also, the other problem with foot pedals is you need to sit like a normal human with your feet on the floor. Otherwise, you can't really use them. So if you're sitting like a shrimp or a croissant, you can't. No, let's publish this branch. All right, so this is done. This is done. None of this matters. So the snippet I didn't actually just delete, but we'll go configure it now. C# localized. Yeah, all of this can be gone. Okay. Feel called out. Calling everybody out today. Hey, Shaky. You're very well versed on the pedal. Maybe you should invest. You should get like a 12 pedal setup. You should get a snare drum for every time you commit your code. Or snare drum, I was thinking of a symbol. That's why I made that gesture. Doesn't really matter. It's kind of the same. Just an elevated snare drum in my scenario. Commit code, does that mean I was going to make a comment on that? I didn't. I was going to say to your non-existent Git repo. I think you could still use foot pedals while you're standing. I just think they need to be the flatter pedals, and probably you wouldn't be able to rotate your foot as easily. Yeah. Okay. So what else do we need to do here? Because this to-do list is kind of crazy. Let's just add a new tab for to-do. Rename to-do. Put all... And let's make a new one for archive stuff. Yeah, we could just throw it at the bottom. Well, no. I'll do it here. All right, so I want everything out of this section. Okay, done. And then I want all of the completed things out of here. This is apparently done. So that I can actually tell what's going on. I have a bookmark here, and I don't know what's pointing to this, but I'm going to delete this. Actually, maybe we can move the bookmark. I think you can if you're very tricky about this, and I don't think I care. So let's just paste this over here. I guess the bookmark just moves to that. So yeah, that works. And delete this. Is the bookmark still there? Seems strange. All right. Well, there are all of our tasks. I have one square on my git. It's a very faint green square. All right. Take care, Wendy. Yeah, I will only be streaming for the next probably couple hours. So no afternoon stream today. I might not see you again. I hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday. Hey, Goose. Hello, Mr. Adam. Happy Tuesday. Hello, Mr. Goose. All right, so in spell data, get description should have the /n/n directly in the translate call rather than in the addendum. That way translators know what the spacing will be like. All right. Hey, Phil. No, Adam the second. Adam the +½ So here's the translate call. And yeah, we add the addendum down here. And we shouldn't do that. We should put it here. And then do... Whoop. What's going on here? Oh, wait, what? Did I return that? Yeah, I returned that. Okay, so we should just return this whole thing. Okay, this will look slightly cleaner. So now /n/n2. That's going to happen for all of these. So let's go type this in all of them. Done. Done. And done. Then let's finish this stuff. So just return this. Put the addendum up here. All right, we got to make sure we have the exact same number of arguments in all of these. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, yep. Good. And the final one is down here. There. Okay, so 3 arguments for all of them. And now the addendums that we have a /n/n here. We just delete that. And we just return this whole thing, I guess. In fact, if we just search for /n/n plus addendum, we should find the last 3 of these. And we just delete the whole line. Yeah. Okay. We should probably test it out now. It's generally a good thing to do after you make code changes. The whole reason I made this change, I put the new lines into the overall translated text so that translators know that there's no need to add them and that they'll get an idea of how the formatting looks. So I'm in story mode, I think. I need to click this and then load, upgrade, by 1, 2, 3, 4. And now all of these should say casting the spell, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. All right, so that works. But if we make a new game and we do that same thing, it'll show the spells without that now, right? Oh, there's still new lines. Okay, that's a problem. Oh, uh-oh. Hey, Grace. It's going pretty well. We haven't done too much today yet. All right, so I got to think of how we're going to change this. It's only if the addendum exists that we want to put this here. Otherwise, we return string.empty. So I guess technically we can't really do this easily. It does need to be it does need to be here. Well, yeah. I guess I'll just do that. Otherwise, we'd have like conditional formatting on these strings. I don't think I want that. So now this looks even weirder. To the point where I'm not certain we should have changed any of this. How fun, isn't it? How absolutely fun. Yeah, I think let's just delete everything I did. All right, well, that was a waste of time. But it was a waste of only, what, like 3 minutes? Yeah. Okay. Well, goodbye. This was a bad move. The /n/n is conditional on having the ability. So by adding it no matter what, we end up with blank space at the bottom of the tooltip. We could have trimmed it or something. It doesn't really matter though. Okay, so now I need to use this in more places. Oh man, how do I find those places in the code? Yeah, there's no easy way to find them. It's just stuff like this where we just need to replace it. I guess it's all of the enemy abilities. Basic stun attack has it too. Yeah. Find me places in the code where. Well, there's no way of even an AI finding this, I think. So in this case, basic stun attack is an enemy only ability. Maybe we could find it based on saying like only abilities that show up. I don't know. Anyway, now that I think about that, maybe this isn't that bad. Maybe now I just search for this and then do that. And then, okay, this is going to be quite the tricky little thing I'm doing here. All right, so now we look through which ones haven't we done and which are player abilities. So like snake bite, for example. Yeah, this already has this string should never show up. Because it never shows in the UI. Okay. And zombie bite, same thing, I'm guessing. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you, Craze, because that actually made me think, how would an AI do this? Berry heal, yeah, same thing. Yeah, I don't want people translating these things. Dog increase power. Cat increase dodge. Ogre basic attack. Yep. Snakebite was already there. Oh no, that was spirit snakebite. This is regular snakebite. Yeti elite. I think for these I already did this. Yep. Plant elite, because these are new. I did it for the new stuff. This is not what I meant to type. Phoenix ability. Yeah, this is wrong. I did the Phoenix before I did the other bosses. Slime armor. Slime summon attack. Enchantress summon. If these ever do show up in the game, we'll need to come up with names for them. All right, fireball, quick shot. I think rock throw is fine. What has rock throw? Shadow golem. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then basic attack with specific cooldown. All right, that should be everything, I think. Hey, Krasner, and thank you. Yeah, I need to get a haircut. I'm going to try to go today. I don't know how crazy it's going to be. I bet haircuts probably increase right before big holidays. That's my guess. So I shouldn't have waited this long. I just didn't feel like going last Tuesday. All right, so are there any other ones? Is there any other way we'd find this? Fire barrage, that might be one of them. Yeah. How did I not find that by doing this? That is a good question. I guess we could just search for new here, right? Yeah. So anything I'm missing here? Fire barrage, heal. I did that. I did those. I got that. Seed shot, I think was already done. Yeah. Shield of Unity. Slime elite attack. I don't remember getting that one. I did not get that one. Anything else? Vine attack. Nope, that's already done. Yeti attack. Yeti elite ability. Good. And where's the rest of that list? Yeah, that's everything. Okay. All right. I think that's probably decent. Indicate when abilities shouldn't be translated. None of these show in the UI, so I don't want to waste effort. I'm going to review the PR or the commit here, but it should be the exact same code everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. So if I press F5 and it works, then who cares? Don't need to look at it in the game because there is no way to look at it in the game. And it built, so we're fine. Okay, so done with that. Probably make terms out of wisdom sludge so we can reference that one term everywhere. Yeah, we do have this in a lot of places. My goodness. So there are a couple different ways we could do this. Option one is make a static string somewhere, like wisdom sludge, and use that from code where possible. So we could say something like collect 5 wisdom sludge would then turn into collect 0, 1. And you'd format it with amount, comma, like wisdom sludge string. That's option one. Option two is use the glossary feature of Weblate and just have translators plug that in. Hey, Taras, welcome in. And the reason why I think this is probably better is because this string is not obvious what we're saying to collect. So I think I'm leaning toward this. It's not obvious what 1 is in this case. And maybe in some languages that would matter. Have you tried to use AI for priorities? No, not really. Honestly, the stream title is just kind of what's on my mind before the stream. And then we figured out the priority within the first like 2-3 minutes. So it was mostly just like I don't know what I'm doing yet. And I could update the title and just say we're working on localization stuff, but it's not super pressing for me. So yeah, I think I'm leaning toward this. But I wonder if this is best. So wait. I didn't mean to write this. Maybe in some languages the order would matter. Like in English, you say 5 wisdom sludge. But if the order changes in another language, then you would want to parameterize it. No, that wouldn't matter. Yeah, no, that wouldn't matter. Never mind. This doesn't make sense. By the way, please do try to be careful about segmenting messages. And yeah, in this case, what we're doing, so this game is made in Godot. And Godot has a couple of features for pulling a translated string from a particular localization file. So for example, if I say like translate hello, it will see that hello now becomes like an ID. And in English, it's going to use the string that I just typed. So it's going to be hello. But then it'll look up in a French file something like bonjour. And then if we don't have a language, it'll just fall back to the English. So that's at least a mechanism within the code base. And then for getting those strings, it's probably going to be a combination of machine provided strings and then community edited strings. So we have our Skeleseller project here, and you'd be able to go to a language and just be like, okay, what's not translated yet? And then click something like team and change this. And yeah, so on and so forth. So yeah, everything's kind of in place for this, but there's still some cases that I haven't fully figured out. Like wisdom sludge is one of the currencies in the game, and I want to figure out, like, do we want to parameterize this everywhere and then someone just translates it once? I guess this is a nicer thing, like someone would only have to translate this once. if we did it this way. This also assumes that the words wisdom, sludge don't change. In English, it's already a plural when needed. But in other languages, it might not be. I don't know. I don't really think this matters too much. It's like this only shows up in what, 20 places in the code base. So let's say I do it the wrong way or I find out something's bad about it. I could always just go change those 20 places. I think it's going to be tough. I feel like complete phrases are easiest to translate nicely. Well, and in both cases here, you'd see what the English is. And this tool presents that. So as an example, if we go back to, oh my God, should really just find a way to like pin this. So if we go back to this and you go to an untranslated string here, this, for example, like the amount of time the battle took from start to finish, you'll always see the English string, and then you'll also see anything we added over on the side. So in this case, we didn't add anything specific, but it says this one's in the end battle screen. So it's like, oh, okay, this is going to show up at the end of a battle. But for other cases, we do sometimes add in context or notes. I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't. Oh, I guess if we search for like byte, for example. Why does it say no strings found? Oh, because I'm in scenes. I want to be in scripts. Components, scripts. Search byte. Yeah. So like this should say ability names on the right side. So we have some extra context for this stuff too. Maybe this isn't super important. Wisdom, sludge. Yeah, let's hold off on this. Why do anything right now? Update. I don't think it's worth doing anything for this right now. And I gotta clean my keyboard. The R and the M and J, I think, have been double typing. That's always cat hair. We'll probably use the glossary feature of Weblate. If that's not good enough or there's some other problem, we can address this then. All right, spell data names need to be get name functions. I think I already did this. Get name, yeah, I did. Maybe we can see if we can call tr or we use translate, just save some characters. Honestly, I think I could probably do a pretty quick search for this, but I don't think this is worth spending a lot of time on either. We have 741 results for this. We can ignore every SVG file. And if these are in order, then we could just delete, yeah, the first 8 of these things. Same thing with this. We can just delete that. So now what we would want to find is any place where we're using a Godot node. And I believe this actually is a node. You try feeding your whole Google Doc to AI and give it a prompt to see what it would tell you. You're saying my to-do list? I don't know why I would do that. Is there some like value you suspect it's going to have? I guess what I'm trying to say is imagine if you had a to-do list that was something like do the dishes and take out the trash. Like feeding this to an AI doesn't do those tasks for you. And there's no clarity you need on those tasks. So you still have to do the dishes and you still need to take out the trash. Like in my mind, a lot of these tasks are just very straightforward things like that, where it's like, I just got to go through and do this sort of thing. All right, that's a VBox container, which means that we do have access to TR from here. And that means we can get rid of this using. So I guess we need to know the inheritance hierarchy for any of these to be able to do this. And I'm not certain this is worth putting in any amount of time for this. I guess all the abilities are going to be fine. So we can just skip past those. And we have a whole bunch of those. So if I do this, oh, that wiped out almost the entirety of the code base. Well, that was nice. Okay, yeah, this is not disposable, so I don't need this one either. Same thing with any of the tips, I guess. And that leaves us with 3 locations. And one of them is an untitled document. So not 2 locations. And this is an analyzer, so 1 location. And this is not inside of a class that inherits from a Godot node. So yeah, I guess we're fine. Huh. So I found the one place in the code where that was needed. Okay. Sounds good. Use tr instead of translate. Yeah, cool. All right. Done. Consolidate many of the common strings. You can find these easily by looking through the plot files for many CS instances for one message. I'm not even sure what I meant by this anymore. This is what I do with AI, writing big documents to ask questions, so I'm getting a second opinion. For a to-do list, though, I don't think you need to ask questions of your to-do list. I think if you were writing like a design document, you might want to ask it questions. But yeah, I don't think you'd want to do it for a to-do list. All right, so .pot files. So we only have 2 of these. What did I mean by this? You can find these easily by looking through the .pot file for many CS instances within. Oh, I know what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah. So this was trying to find strings that show up. Strings like okay that show up in many files. Hang on 1 second. Okay, sorry, my wife had called. Could be a question about priorities or which part suits your mood. You would ask an AI what suits your mood? This seems like trying to use AI in everything you're doing, if you are doing that. Because to me, that is the kind of thing you would consult your own brain for. Like, do I want to do this task right now? I use AI. I think there are certain things you don't need it for and wouldn't try to, shoehorn in a function for it. Like I said, like imagine if your list was, do the dishes and take out the trash. Would you feed this into AI? Because if the answer is yes, then I think we're just on a like totally different wavelength. And I'm not saying you're wrong. Like I don't see what the value is, but you could see some value in that. All right, so I never regenerated this. Generate. Hey, test user. Been a couple months since I've last seen Skeleseller. What's new? We've been working on story mode, so we've made quite a lot of content for that, and now we're getting ready for playtesting again and some more localization work. So yeah, things have been going well here. How have you been, test user? Okay, so yeah, something like this. This string should never show up. This is now in many different files. And we should be able to see if there are any other cases like this. Like this, for example, chance, column headers. I need to extract that out. I already wrote this down, I think. Did I write this down? I apparently didn't. Oh, yep, it is. I wrote this. Yeah. Yeah, column headers is going to have a lot of these. Dodge bonus, sure. Just want to get an idea for what we're looking at here. And then we should have common dialogue descriptions, I think, somewhere, like maybe later. I'm guessing if I search for maybe later, we'll see this in a bunch of spots. Yeah, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Did I write that down too? Yep, I did. Okay. Well, I already kind of have this written down in a bunch of spots. If I just scroll through here some more, is there any other like little thing we see? No, not really. That's it. I'm going through waves. Went back to school to fill in gaps before I pursue a master's. What are you studying? I know you mentioned math now, but is that just like one course, or are you doing a master in math or a degree in math? Turns out it's just 3 math in a trench coat. I think math is important for computer science. And I still think there's a lot you won't directly use from any education, but that you'll almost certainly indirectly use in some way. And the level of indirection there might be extreme. Like you learned how to learn, or you learned a topic you didn't want to learn. And even just that is going to help you in the future. All right, so consolidate many of the common strings. I think I have notes about this. I'll just write this down. Update. I have specific notes for this farther down this list. I do plan on tackling this. Got my bachelor's in computer science. Want to go into computer engineering. This higher math, physics, and engineering. Got to do that. I see. Well, I think that sounds exciting. Going back to school and doing something that you want to do. I think that's really, really important. For most of the schooling, at least most of the required schooling that you do, you don't choose much. Like, I can't remember the first time I got to pick an elective, like a core class elective at least. And I think 9th grade, I could pick which language I wanted to learn. And it was French, Spanish, or German. I know these aren't the language codes. And then I think later in high school, I could pick some like core courses. So this wasn't exactly core, I guess. I think you had to do a language in the school I went to. Anyway, and then in college, of course, you can pick quite a lot. But yeah, what I was trying to get at is, even for some people who go to college, it's like you pick your degree, and then if you don't love it, or just kind of choosing it for some other reason, maybe you just wanted a career and you thought, oh, this is a good topic to start studying, you won't be as motivated as if you are mindfully choosing that thing. And I think it'll be a better fit that way. So yeah, I hope you like computer engineering. The way I see, as universities mainly teach you how to be a scientist. And if you learn how to actually do a job by accident, it's a nice bonus. Yeah. I wonder what would have been the best way for me to learn exactly. Because I think everything ended up being fine, but still, was there a better way to get to where I am? Yeah, probably. Probably everyone has some improvements they could be making. Feels like I'm going down the right path, just a bit behind. I know exactly what I want to do for my master's. Yeah, it sounds good. Also, the just a bit behind, if you're not bothered by that, then great. And if you are bothered by that, I'd say to try to push it from your mind as much as possible. Being behind is not really all that important when it comes to computers. Like, there's probably some gold rush that happened where if you're behind, then you just missed out. But I don't think computers are one of those gold rushes. I think it's still something that if you like learning it, computers will still be around for a while. Maybe some jobs will change thanks to AI. But at least we'll still be using computers, I think, for the next however long of humanity. You study political science. Wow. Are you doing anything of that for fun? And not formally? I was trying to make games. I figured that I need to make physical games, like card games, to practice game design. Yeah, I think game design is kind of interesting in general, because one of the things I've always said is that game design on its own is almost impossible to judge. You judge the design by the game it produces. So if you don't produce the game, then how do you know your design was good? And other people can review it, but yeah, what if they're wrong? A lot of taste is subjective. So that's where I think prototyping something, or making a physical game, or making a mod in another person's game, I think it's all really good. Hey, Moon Puppet, how are we going to celebrate a year of Skeleseller development? Oh man, I was not planning on celebrating anything until launch, because we're somewhat close. March should be the launch month. I don't know when exactly yet, but so yeah, sometime in March. And then it's going to be a big celebration somehow. I don't know what. I'm going to try to apply for the Twitch front page again. And I'm going to reach out to a bunch of influencers. And then try to do some, like, I don't know, just in-person celebration with some friends. I don't have any specific plans for stream. If you have ideas, I'm open to them, although I might not use them. I don't tend to be big on celebrating on stream, I think. I really should be good. Well, I wasn't necessarily saying you should be. I was just curious what it looks like if you enjoy it well enough to want to like go back to school at some point, even hypothetically. Complete the login page. Today I'm going to fix the nav bar. That's all from my side. Nice. How you feeling about it? I like making things. The computers make so much possible, like games. Hope everything with Skeleton Seller has been going well because I really enjoyed the demo. Yeah, thank you. It has been going well. Really, when I look back at the streams for the last, I don't know, like 4 months even, and probably farther, but I just don't remember that far back. They've generally been good. We haven't been super stuck on anything. I guess I've mentioned the whole identity crises that happen from time to time. Those still kind of happen, and they're still kind of happening now. At least with like, will story mode be enough for players? And that's why the #1 priority is to get back to playtesting. And the only real blocker right now is some art. So we will eventually have that art. We'll push this out to some people. We'll hear what they have to say. And then begins iteration again. So it's very unlikely that everything's perfect in story mode. But that's okay. If it's, 85% of the way there, that last 15% is doable. If it's 20% of the way there, I'm going to pull out all of my hair. Very bad. I don't want to work. Oh, okay. Well, some of that is just work in general, but I guess I meant you talked about another coworker missing a deadline. You've talked about having to refactor. You talked about some of the anxieties you've had. So your current message, obviously doesn't sound like it's good right now, but it doesn't sound like it's anxiety based. Maybe it sounds like it's like, I just want to do my own thing. Is there a playtest available for the current version? No, we're waiting on artwork. By the way, to clarify what I mean about this, so let me launch the game. I just changed the world map, or the battle map, and I did so by just moving nodes around. So we don't have the proper paths, and we don't have 2 of the proper nodes. So the map now looks like this, and you can see these paths don't go anywhere, like these little S shapes that you see all over the place, and that the canyon shows up 3 times on the map. So that stuff needs to be fixed up. And this is what it should look like when it's done. A path smoothly goes through a location, which you can click, and then goes to another location, which you can click. And then that's where the nice part ends. Then we have a random path coming out of there and nothing else. Oh, that one looks good, I guess. That's pretty close to good, at least. So yeah, we got to fix that up. All right, where do we leave off with this? Okay, the string zeros, or more specifically, 0s, need to be localized. Not all languages will use S for seconds. There should just be a format seconds that we call for all these. Okay, yeah, this is pretty reasonable. So we can search for this by doing, whoops. Oh my God, there. By doing a regex of /d plus s, and then slashes around that stuff. And wow, there are not that many places for this. I thought there'd be more. That's not bad at all. And they're all almost exactly the same string. Except for this. Why was that not found in the original code? Enter the shadows, increasing your chance to dodge. Where is that? Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, this is pretty easy. Hey, other goose. Good morning. By the way, this ad break starting in 50 seconds just popped up. That's usually my sign to take a break myself. And yeah, thank you, test user. I really appreciate it. Oh, hey, third goose. We have 3 geese in chat right now. Okay, I'm going to take my break now. So is it jump time? It's jump time. Goose spamming J0 at the end so that you can try to win just by being slightly higher than Speezy. All right, GG. Oh, man. And hey, Russ. All right, close the game. All right, so we got a few of these we got to fix up. So this is a number, which is going to be formatted as a number of seconds. Hey, really quickly, anyone who speaks another language in chat. So if you have an English string that is something like deals poison damage, deals, 4 poison damage over 5s. So this part specifically in English, seeing 5s of course means 5 seconds. In your language, could you also just replace this one part with something and it would make sense? Or would you have to like restructure the sentence, or would you have to, I don't know. So I don't know. Would you have to do anything other than just replace this one part in whatever your language is? Yeah. So, okay. In Spanish, it sounds like everything would be fine. Imagine it's that way, and all the languages are kind of similar. Yeah, 5 seconds Polish. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. I just want to make sure I'm not going to run into a problem by turning this into, deal 0 poison damage over 1. As long as you can replace this with something, and it could even be the actual, it could be 5 seconds for all I care. Like in English, I think this looks cleanest to a gamer. But yeah, as long as you can replace it with something, I'm fine. So cool. And hang on for Benny. All right. So then, yeah, let's go fix these things up. So instead of being 2, it's going to be format seconds. BB code functions on format seconds. What did I call this? Format. What? Oh, it takes in a number? Does it bold this as well? Yes, it does. And now we get rid of that. Yeah, nice. Also just replace. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, cool. I would expect most languages to work that way. I just didn't know. Yeah. Do you have to change anything else potentially? All right. Yeah, that looks good. Now we just do this everywhere. So we say BB code functions format. Wait, this won't work. Hang on. I don't think this will work. We have format strings here. How does this function? We pass in a string. I guess the string is going to be the exact same string we use for BB code format string or format seconds. Yeah. We could have this taken a function. I think that'd be stupid. That'd be $700. Yeah. Just send the bill to Windy Beard Games. Is this your first game, or you game dev before this? This is not my first game, and in fact, it's not even the first game on stream. The first game on stream was Botland, but this is no longer playable. It will be playable again at some point, but not as a supported game, just as like a one-off. Hey, if you want to check this out, you can. This game is pretty interesting. You'd make a bot, so you'd equip it with missiles and lasers and whatever else, and then you would give it a script, and you could make the script in JavaScript or in this block-based language, and then they would just fight according to the script you gave them. It was an online multiplayer game. It took a bunch of years to make. It was not a commercial success. And then there are other little games here and there, like Jump Royale is a game, the one that we played on break. I made another break game called Animal Royale, which was based in Minecraft. There's that game I just linked in called Ophog. This is like a tower defense game. You put these units down and they just automatically move along the map and then get into battles. Well, assuming they're enemies. There we go. Yeah. And they'd fight, and you could like equip items, and yeah. And then there were some other things I just never launched, or things I launched to a very limited audience, or things I never finished. In fact, the post-mortem of Botland has a blog post in there. I will link that. There it is. And in this blog post, I talked about what even got us to Botland. So yeah, in 2010, I just made a simple thing. This took, I don't know, maybe a week or something. And I made some like scripting view in Python here, and you could control these workers on the map. And then I made like a Java version out of this, and this didn't end up going anywhere. I made another Java version. I made another prototype for another aspect of the game. And then finally we ended up with Botland in the end of that. So yeah, I spent many years of my life on a Botland-esque game. And then it saw the light of day and did not do well. So this string needs to be somewhere common. Maybe, I mean, we have like tip strings and stuff. Building strings, adventurer strings. Maybe we just save this as like formatting, text formatting strings. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And in this case, all we need is this to be there. Public static string seconds. Or like number in seconds. Or duration in seconds. Yeah, it's just that. And I just delete everything else in here. Okay, that's it. So now I want to use this in two different places. I want to use it here. So text formatting strings dot that. And then I want to use it. Why is that? Why is it yellow? We don't need that. Cache a composite format for repeated use. And I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't want to do this. There's a thing about how you do this, and it just looks unwieldy. Composite format dot parse, and then we save off the composite format, and then call string dot format with that. Do I want to do that? I guess I could. Public static. No, I don't want to do this. I don't care. I'm just going to suppress this for now. Why is it not letting me suppress this now? Oh, because it came from this. CA1863 editor config. CA 1863. I just want to get the name of this. This rule is probably decent, but it's just too much boilerplate to care about right now. Yeah. Sure, there. All right, so that should hopefully not highlight anymore. It's still gonna be highlighted, won't it? Hey, Cruddlefish. Good afternoon. Yeah, all right, looks good. All right, and then we just replace every other thing that I had with this. So I can search for this again. /D plus S. Gotcha. And then we fix every single one of these by making it that. No suggestions? Suggestions. All right. Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. Good. We only have a few more of these. I know this isn't exciting content to watch, but there are 2 left, I think. Oh, wait, no, that can't be changed. What am I doing? And that's it. We're done. So now when you look through the scripts file, there's a duration in, where is that? I guess it's just this. Text formatting. Maybe I should write a comment for this. I18N. This is for any duration that will definitely be in seconds. This may show up as part of deal 5 damage every 2s. The 2s would hit this string, would use this string. Yeah, there. All right. So now when we call generate, that's going to actually appear there in the source file. So it says this is for any duration that will definitely be in seconds. This may show up as part of deal 5 damage every 2s. The 2s would use this string. Yeah, perfect. All right. So there's one other thing. No, that's it. I wonder if I search for form skill table, how would I do this? Let's do it this way. All right, so go into the Skeleseller code base, search for this, but with -C3, and then copy all of that, and then paste it over here. And I want every line that starts with this, and I don't want anything that has translate there already. And I want all of these to be unique and then ordered. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Ooh, that's not good. Turns out there were more places where this was done. Okay, yeah, we got to think about that. I don't know what to do for that yet. What else do we have though? Everything else is pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's just these. Oh, what do we do? So let me think about this. We had format seconds, and we just pass it a number. Oh, this is hard to wrap my brain around. I'm gonna close all these other tabs here. So let me go back to our text formatting strings. We have this. This is translated with a string. Wait. Yeah, then we need to call string.format on. And string.format is going to take in the number. None of this takes in a number. So our BB code function for format seconds needs to tell how many decimal points to use. Yeah. Okay, that shouldn't be too hard to do. String extra format params equals 0. I am pretty certain this is going to work, but I'm not entirely sure, so let's just run it over here. So if I do, hey JD, if I do string foo equals some number dot toString extra params, and our sum number is a floating point number, and we say it is 4.2, and then I print out foo here, and then we do extra params is equal to 0. I think this should just print 4. Yes. But if I type, oh man, if I type 0 dot number, then it's going to print 4.2. Yeah, and if I do multiple pound signs, it should still be 4.2, I think. But then if I change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's going to print 4.123. Yeah. Okay, so I need that. And we have that. So we're done. I just need to write down what this is. How do you get the parameter to show up? I don't know. I'm just going to delete this. We'll just have it type it out for me. Wait, what? It's not auto-completing the summary thing? That's not right. Huh. Yeah, that's not right. Let me reload this again. Have it so you first format the seconds, then do the translation. I don't think you can do that because the translation could change the order. Or maybe you could. I don't know. I'm not really thinking about this too clearly, but God, I can't get this to work. I just want to figure out how you type out parameters here. Yeah, like this. Yeah. Yeah. Format seconds. Okay. So I want this here. This isn't even correct. I put this on the wrong I put this in the wrong spot. Number.toString. There's no argument that corresponds to the required parameter format provider. What? Oh, because object doesn't have that? Oh my God, this is so annoying. So we need to do this. And then here we need to do toString.toString extra format params. No, that also doesn't exist. What? I'm confused about that then. There's a provider here, and the provider should be able to be a string, is it not? Why does this work in the playground code? I mean, I guess we can just call the format thing over here, right? String.format, toString, extra format params. Huh. Might be null though. Use these if you want more granularity over the formatting. If you want up to a single decimal place, you could specify that for this. I don't even have the parameter there yet because I still need to figure out how I'm doing this thing. I guess we should just put this exactly into the code over here, huh? Format number. Format number doesn't need to exist. We'll just delete that. Translate doesn't exist. So we have to assume that this is translated to just 0M. And then I number comes from numerics. And I can run this? Yes, good. Okay, so now we need to call format minutes on something. Format minutes. Number is going to be 3 point... Actually, let's just use some num. Who cares? And then extra format params will be nothing. So this should print 4. That can't be right. All right, C# toString with formatting. there's a string first and then, oh, int has it? Float should have it too, right? Yeah, this. Why can't I do that? It's valid code over here too. This is what I don't understand. Like, I do toString dot toString with this. Name does not exist. Yeah, that's not what it's called anymore. Yeah, it says the same thing it told me in my code. Can't convert to an iFormat provider. I'm not certain. I guess you can't do this on an I number. I think that's the problem. We need to like collapse this to some known type. Are you trying to turn a number into text? Yeah, but with a certain format provider. Hey, Odin, welcome in. I'm making a game called Skeleseller, excuse me. But I am currently just trying to figure out how to get this to work. There's just a tiny problem. I want to format a number of seconds. And according to however many decimal places the caller wants. So like maybe 4.12 seconds versus 4 seconds. And there's a way to just take a number like float numsec and do numsec.toString with the parameters here. So you could do this and this is fine. But if you have an I number numsec, you can't do that. And I don't know what you're supposed to do instead. There's number.toString. There's also probably like number.get. Just get type. Yeah, there's no value here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to do about this. All right, well, let's search for C# I number format. What's it called? String provider? It's whatever this thing complained about. I format provider. Can you convert it to float? It's not necessarily a float. So an I number could be anything. It could be an int, a long, a double, a float, whatever other number types there are. If you convert it to a float and it was a double, you'll lose precision. I guess you could always convert it to a double, but then it won't be able to represent some numbers that long could represent probably. So, yeah, I'm not totally sure what to do here. This exists on an iFormatable. Oh, we could just say that it's iFormatable as well. Oh, well, then that should fix it, right? iFormatable T, iFormatable. And is that generic? Is it this? iFormatable has a toString with a format provider. Yeah, I think this should fix it. Does that work? Do I have to put a T in here? I don't know what I'm doing. It should just be the number has a toString, right? In fact, I should be able to put that there. And then just put this as toString. The annotation for nullable reference types should only be used in code with nullable. There's no argument given that corresponds to a required parameter format provider. I'm missing something here. How much precision do you need? It's just left over up to the caller. So the minimum is 0. I mean, it's just a whole number. There's got to be a way to do this. Okay, let's back up a second. So if I try running this, I get the same problem, right? And I'm kind of doing this stupidly anyway. So like we don't want this here. We want to use this and want to put this in here. Extra format params. Hey, Rotero. Keyboard question. I built a Lily 58. Any tips on getting used to the new layout? Been using KeyBR. Do you recommend switching completely and going cold turkey? I switched completely. And I think my kind of typing tips, let me take a look because I had something. Sorry, hang on. I'm trying to find something off screen right now. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, here's my suggestion. So when you're typing something, there is both the accuracy of what you type and which fingers you use. I think both are important when you're learning how to type. So what I would say is, let's say you're typing out a sentence like, I went to the store the other day. And let's say you made a typo here. You should stop that line, press enter, retype the exact line. And you might type it wrong again, in which case, again, stop and retype. And by doing this, you'll realize, like, where am I making mistakes as I'm typing? And you'll drill in your sort of problem words into your muscle memory. And even if you type it correctly, so you type this at the end, but you use the wrong finger for like the O key, again, just stop and like retype it. I went to the store, and then like pause here and be like, oh yeah, I should be pressing that with my pinky instead of with my ring finger or something. I think that helps a lot. I think the other thing is, if you have LEDs on your keyboard, you can use those as indicators. So maybe you don't know where your delete key is, or you don't know where the certain symbol is. You could like color it bright pink, or color it a certain, I don't know, some color to help you remember. Writes, deletes, writes, deletes. And it is good for learning a new keyboard. Can I ask why you don't ask AI? I probably will eventually if I don't find the answer to this, but I do kind of want to tool around and figure out how would I come to this conclusion myself. And then what else? Yeah, I think whenever it comes to using a site, so I think I use KeyVR very briefly, but I'd say just make sure whatever you're practicing represents what you actually type. So a lot of these things, like if I went to monkey type and I was like, okay, plan, child, as, change, find, a, like this is not a sentence. I don't type like this. I don't just type a bunch of random English words in all lowercase. So like I should be typing out quotes, or I should be typing out my actual documents that I have. And then the last thing I'll share are a couple of videos here. So there's one on just kind of learning this stuff, and then there's one on my specific keyboard and some of my layout stuff that I talk about. I don't know if either of those would be that helpful, so you don't have to watch them, but if you are curious, there's some more material. It says a native exception occurred during launch. That's strange. So it can't even try to build this? Yeah, no argument to format parameter. So I thought doing iFormatable here would be fine. It's not, because I'm missing something. Maybe another string here? I'm not totally sure. And I wonder if all primitive number types are formatable, and if so, why iNumber doesn't inherit from something that has formatable there. Maybe because these just have to, well, I guess it's because it just needs implemented interface. So it's whatever this thing exposes. Unfortunately, something seems wrong with VS Code right now. Like F12 isn't working. It's been stuck on building. I guess I'll just reload the whole thing. Actually, I should probably just quit the whole thing and then go back into it. So I think this is going to build, but I don't know what this means to put this argument here. I gotta go look into that. It doesn't build. Can I convert from string to iFormat provider? That's the second one though. This isn't even in iFormatable. Oh, maybe it's not. Oh, wait. Oh, I think I know what's going on. I don't think it's using the right toString. Yeah, I don't think it's using the right toString. I think I need to say that this is an iFormatable. Something's still wrong there. It says required parameter. It's not even a required parameter. Why is it talking about that? What am I missing? Like, now it's definitely trying to call the right toString, but this has a question mark here. What if I just say null for that? If this ends up working, I'm going to be very confused. It did? Really? Okay, I don't follow. I don't know why I had to specify that. I don't have to specify this anywhere else, right? It is required, doesn't have equals null. But why don't I have to do this anywhere else that we do .toString? Like I even have code over here in the playground where I tested this. I just did toString and it's just specified a string. So that must be a different kind of toString. If I say float foo equals 5 and then foo.toString 0, what is this calling? It's on single.cs and it passes in number format info.current info. Okay, well that's probably important instead of passing in null. But what is single.cs? Represents a single precision floating point number. Okay, well, I guess instead of null, we just pass this in. And then everything's fine, right? Yeah. So now I guess we don't need iFormatable here. Like, what can we now delete? Can we also delete this? What if you cast it to iNumber float? That would work, but you'd have to know that it's a float, and then you remove the generic aspect of this function. Okay, I think I figured it out. So it was just that I needed to pass this in, and I didn't know why I needed to pass that because in my other example, I didn't have it. Okay, well, then this makes sense. So this is for format minutes. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this for format seconds. So let's just copy paste this over here. And then same thing over here. Yeah, sure. Oops. So I think this will work now. I think this took me a long time, but we need to look at preparedness. So it says this is for Mushy. Yeah, for Spore Cloud. Okay, so let's go look at that. Yeah, imagine not knowing about current info and single.cs. Well, it's just the number format info and yeah, me kind of getting turned around for a second there. So now let's try this. We should be able to go look at Mushy's preparedness ability. So here it is. And this says time reduction 0, 3, or 6 seconds because we put a 0 dot pound sign here. But there's a way to make it so that you get a certain number of decimal places all the time. I don't recall how you do that. I think it's like 0.3. Actually, I can just test this over here, right? 0.3. What does that do? That fails because of all this stuff. Delete. I don't care. Delete, delete. That's not a thing. Oh, how do you do this? 0 dot something. I think I have it in an ability markdown file over here. readme.md. Yeah, there. 1.0. Oh, you put zeros. Okay. So if I put 0, 0, it's going to work. Yes. Okay, there we go. So this is going to say always use 2 decimal places. So if I have the number exactly 4, it's still going to print 4.00. Yeah. All right, that's what I want to test here. So if I say 0, 0, 0, it doesn't matter how many I have. I'm just testing this. But now it's going to say 0.000 seconds, 3.000, and 6.000. Yes, good. Okay. Ooh. All right, that was a little bit challenging. So now, how do we do what I'm trying to do? This would need to be a function that returns a formatting string because format seconds doesn't know enough on its own to be able to do this. Yeah, I think that's our issue now. Because we have duration in seconds for these. And this exists in other tables. This does not tell you to put the duration in any particular way. It'd have to be a function, I think. Hey, Free Technique. Yeah, so now the problem is I form all of the skill tables using formatting strings. So when we just need seconds, having formatting strings dot duration in seconds is fine. I guess whole seconds. It looks like this. when we need decimal places, we can't have a single string anymore. It's got to be a translated. No, wait. Yeah. Hold on. Can't we just format the translated string? I think we can, and I think this is going to look bizarre. Man, I don't know why this is so hard to wrap my head around. Text formatting strings dot this. And then we format this very thing to string like that. If this even works. Yeah, if this even works, this is going to be kind of crazy. And then we put number format info dot current info. No overload takes 2 arguments. How dare you? How dare you? Oh, man. Which means they can modify it if appropriate. Yeah, that is another way I could do this. Huh. Maybe that's a smarter way to do this. Maybe we just have different precisions in the formatting strings. So we have like a format whole seconds and a format seconds with. No, this is kind of silly. I think I would just translate the individual calls. So we'd have a translate here that says something like 0 dot number sign s. I wonder if Weblate knows how to deal with that. It probably does. You know how we could check? We could go to scripts and search for P0. We don't have P0 anymore. Because this thing didn't care. Because I wanted it to be the same. I can create a custom formatter. I mean, I could just do this. This on its own would work. And then someone would just have to translate this. So instead of S, it turns into like seconds or something in their language. I just kind of wanted there to be one and that I specify no matter what, which I still think might be fine. And I still think there's a way to get this to work. I just need to figure it out. This is going to be a translated thing. So in English, this is going to work out to be exactly this. This. And then I want to take, I guess I want to format that string. Okay, that's what I want to do. Yeah, string dot format this string to instead be that. Yeah, and delete that. All right, that's, I think, what I need here. Now, what did I mess up? No, that's it. That should work. Okay, that's it. And that's not even that crazy. So we should see 0, 3, and 6 show up there. Yeah, perfect. And then if I change this to a 0, we'll see 0.0, 3.0, and 6.0 show up. And then the question is just, do we like this? Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah. So this is at least working the way I wanted it to. So is this good? Is this bad? Is there a better way of doing this? I think this is fine. It just looks weird. And we use this in a couple different places. So I need to search for 0:0 dot number. Wait a second. If I did this, oh my God, then what was the point of me changing the format seconds function? Yeah, there's no point because we never really directly call this. It's very rare that we do. I kind of want to just leave that there though. It's probably fine, and if it isn't, people will complain. Well, the it's probably fine part, I think this is definitely going to be fine for people who are playing in a different language. It's a question of, is it best for the translator and is it best for the developer? Because I can't see why this would be bad for the player. If you show a string like 4.56% in English, another language might show it as like this, for example, or maybe with a space or something. But another language should not change the precision of the number. Like, you wouldn't just round this up to 6, right? You'd keep the number the same. Or the precision, I mean. Because otherwise you're changing how much information you're giving away. So, yeah. Yeah, the commas, whatever. I'm saying you could type this out as 4.6%, or well, I guess 4.56%. Like this would be valid, but what you would never change it to is this. Like, that's changing the precision here. So whether you type with commas, you write out the words, you type in some like alien language, you're still going to have a 4.56 in there somewhere. Some languages want to choose the numbering system. Well, I assume this will always just use a default locale format or whatever it is. Yeah, anyway, I'm not concerned about this. I think this is fine. So we just got to change this in the other place where this shows up. So this isn't needed now. 0:0. So this is exactly the same. No, this is not exactly the same. This is 0.0. Let's document exactly what it is you're passing in. Yeah. Well, we'll see how all this works. I'll probably learn some lessons doing this. This one is exactly what I wanted. Yep. And the final one is here. This is number sign. Yep, we have a number sign. Cool. And then there was one more, I think. No, that was it. So 0. I can't just search for that everywhere in the code base because it shows up everywhere. Well, I guess if we do this and then search for just CS files, most of the time we're going to find it before numbers, not in formatting strings. So I guess a colon has to precede it. Yeah. Oh, look at that. There's another problem. And there's another problem. And there are more problems. Wow. Wait a sec, though. Is that the case? Oh, God. Maybe I overcomplicated this. I guess one way we could almost always find it is just by searching for that. Yeah, that sounds like it's a lot easier. And also the minutes variant of that. Oh God. Okay. All right. So we need to find all of that and that so that we cover every possible case here. Okay, let's start with this one. So this is format number. We can change this to format seconds. It's BB code functions.format seconds. And then we can change this to be the number and the string to be 0.$. And there we go. So now we just got to make that change everywhere. I have to bless the entire party, making them act faster for a certain amount of time. Where's that? Here. Making them act 20% faster for 1 second. So let's put a point into that. Now it says 20% faster for 1.5 seconds. So save and reload. Should look exactly the same. So this did not put it into a table, and that's why this is different. Yeah, it's the same. And a table version of this, words of wisdom. What's interesting is I didn't do anything here to try to customize this. So this is not actually as a whole number of seconds. That's not how that works. The zero is pointless. Man. Yeah, so by default, this will simply use the number. This will let the formatter decide. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you for your technique, and thank you, Daniel. I have a mute key on my mic, or sorry, on my mouse, mute mic key, but it's not reliable, and I must have accidentally pressed it, and I like rarely do that. Because even when I mean to press it, I don't count on it muting anything. Let me see if it works. Yeah. So now it seems like it's working fine. Maybe I can rely on it. Maybe before I cough, I can just press the button. All right, so we still got to go through and change all of these. So this one's easy. In fact, you know what? We could route all of these. I think it's kind of dumb to do that. BB code functions dot format seconds duration. Yeah. Missed all the top secret info. I was just discovering that other games use all sorts of different things. So D2 says seconds. WoW says sec. And who knows? Other games probably do all sorts of different things. They probably write S, or maybe they put a space in between them, or yeah, maybe they. I guess there are only so many sorts of different things you can do if it's in English. They draw a little clock with a second hand pointing at where they need to be. Eyes distortion. Okay, so in most cases, we're going to just end up changing this to this. And instead of duration, we're going to say like replace me. In fact, let's just copy that, I guess. And then delete that stuff. Oh, God. Cooldown. Okay, how about this? Let's start by making this a little bit easier to read. So cooldown string is going to be all of this. And then this would turn into this string. And then we got to change this string now. So get cooldown for tooltip is a float. So float cooldown equals this. And now this all needs to be in format seconds. So the cooldown string is actually going to be translate cooldown string dot format. Translate doesn't exist. :0. And then we do bb code functions dot format seconds. We take the cooldown and we pass in the string formatting code. I think that's it. Now, why is this yellow? Rename cooldown, which hides the primary constructor. Oh yeah, sure, whatever. This can just be here. No, I think it looks better. Just write it like this. Cooldown value. There. Hey, Pedro. Okay, let's go test that out. So any cooldowns, I guess we could just see this with a rogue. Quick strike has 0.3 seconds. This has 5 seconds. So we're going to try this again. Hopefully it looks great. We also have a now newly translated string. We need a description on that before I forget. So let's put that there. This will be tooltip, or is it tooltips? I never remember. Apparently it is pluralized. Except for this one. Which means that's a mistake. Oh man, there's so much mistakes. How many places does this show up? Just there? How much gold do you have? Tool tips. How fun. How just utterly fun. So much fun. No overload takes 3 arguments. Whoopsie doodle. This is in the wrong spot. Okay, so now we look at the rogue stuff and we'll see that print correctly. Yay. Yay, we just have 42 more results left to look through. Nah, they shouldn't be that hard. bb code functions dot format seconds duration. Okay. It's gonna be this way with a lot of things. Looking slick, yeah. Thank you. By the way, this is, I was saying how I probably had whatever 40 hours of work left to do on localization stuff. This is the kind of work that needs to be done. Like every string that has just the letter S that appears there, that only makes sense in English maybe. And every other string that I just wrote out, like in this case, this is translated, but imagine if I literally just had dodge bonus here with no translate call. It's like, well, we need to wrap it in a translate call. It's not hard to do. You just need to find every single string in the code base and do that. And if you miss any of them, then someone playing the game in a different language is going to be like, execute? That's not, what does that mean? And yeah, that's going to be a problem. So they'll just see English somewhere. It's not the end of the world. And in a lot of cases, they'll probably just, well, hopefully it'll be a tester or someone nice enough to be like, hey, you forgot to translate a string. So yeah. All right, so format in seconds is going to be the cooldown, and we're going to pass in 0.that. Yep, good. And then this is the same general idea. That is exactly what I want. Good job, AI. All right, format seconds, bb code functions, format seconds. This should just be duration. We don't need anything special there. I want to make sure I didn't just change the semantics of this. It should be a whole number. So it shouldn't have mattered anyway. Yeah, it is. You do the same with botline? No, I did not. I didn't bother. You can spend another 20 hours to have a pseudo locale that makes it really obvious. Actually, Godot has that built in by default, so we could try to find it, but the 20 hours would be spent going through every single string in the code base. I guess that's the problem. Interesting. The UI.icon ID was there. They're always here? Seriously? Oh, because now we're using the UI for some other thing, like a note color? Why is this? Oh, it's because of BB code functions. This might be a reason to write a proxy function. The only issue is by calling format seconds, we have to import BB code functions, which is in the UI namespace, which then means that now this is redundant, and we could just say UI dot, or sorry, we could just do the icon ID. Or what I could do is, just like how we have format number, it's just a wrapper around BB code functions on format number. We could write a really quick format seconds that is a wrapper around BB code functions on format seconds. Then we wouldn't run into that problem. Hard to rewire to the new finger movement, though, and layer switching. Still typing on old keyboard until you get comfortable. Yeah, I think that's normal. It takes some time. Okay, well, I've changed some of these. I do kind of want... Actually, I kind of want to stop using any of these. How many places do we use this? It'd be nice if this reported the total. Oh, it does. 77. Wait a second. Can I click that? Oh my God. No, you can't. I was going to say it'd be nice to get all of these references into a buffer somewhere or somehow. But yeah, I don't think you can do that. Okay, well, I should take another break. So here we go. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again. Apparently the ad break didn't end. I should probably just manually trigger those. But close the game. Okay, so where did we leave off here? It was whether I wanted to use these at all. I don't want to change all of these. I said there were 77 references, and that was just some of them, I think. Why are there 2 of these? Ugh. This is used in one place? Really? All right, we're going to change that to just bbcodefunctions.format number and delete the existing format number that we had, which now is unused everywhere. Yeah. And then this should be bbcodefunctions.format seconds. This should just say cooldown. Yeah. How do I feel about this? I mean, if we're already using it in 77 places, maybe I should write another one of these. It is a very commonly used function. Okay, I'll do that. What timing? Hey, Galaxy Inferno. You click 76 references above the function in small text. Wait, what? Oh, here? No, okay, okay. What I want to find is I want something like this, where I can open it in an editor and see where all of these are and be like, oh, I don't want any of the ones in abilities, so just delete all those, for example. I want this sort of view, and I don't know if there's a way to get that. But yeah, clicking this or pressing F12, that part doesn't matter to me too much. I want to expand all of these somehow. I know I can click through them over here, but if I'm like, you know what, just ignore all of those, I can't do that. I have to just manually ignore all of that. All right, let's go change this thing to format seconds. This shouldn't be here, which I guess means that this format number should have been there. Yeah. I'm making every... What is that view? I've never done it like you just showed. The search results. So let's say I'm searching for something and I want to find like where are all the calls to format seconds. I'm just searching through here. This is quick find, so I can find it in this dialog. If I then click this, it goes to the old dialog over on the side that people might be used to, where you can click through and see the part and code that is. You can also X out of these here if you don't want them to show up in the results. But then there's the open an editor button, which puts it into a text editor. And now you can see all the results by just scrolling down and like, oh, I want to look at this one. So double click it and it goes to it. And if you realize, oh man, all these abilities, like I don't want any of those, you just delete them. And now you're only looking at the item one and the BB code functions one, and you can click these and go to that part in the code. So that's from open an editor on the right side over here. And I use that a lot and I really like it because sometimes it's like, okay, you know what? Let's just find CS files. I can do that here. I know you can filter on the right side over here too, but sometimes you're like, okay, you know what? No, I want just abilities code and I want to change this quickly. And it's just sometimes easier to manipulate them through just text. Does not delete them in code. No, just deletes them from the search results page so that you can look through the remaining ones. So a lot of times you might search for something like, okay, I want to find the number, whatever, 123 in my code base. So you do this, you search for these, and you're like, but not when it's part of a UUID. So now you write a little regex here where you're like, all right, let's find the ones that are, I don't know. Anyway, this is super contrived. But yeah, maybe you're like, oh, this is definitely not a result I want to pay attention to. So we'll just get rid of that from there. Okay, so yeah, I flip-flopped on this a little bit. I think we're going to write the wrapper functions here. So let's go do that. So we're going to put this back to where it was. Yeah, and then another one of these protected string format seconds. So this has to match exactly what format seconds looks like over in BB code functions, which is this. Yeah. Oh no. I gotta change something else, don't I? Because I think we have a link to this from somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Then in the editor view, you could replace the word with a new name, for example. No, so the search results are just search results. You'd still, like any change I make here where I type, it's not going to change it in the underlying code. At least I don't think there's a way to make it change like that. So these are purely for search results in here. We could try it briefly. Like if we search for some very specific string. Let's see. Let's search for wisdom sludge. Yeah, in addition to wisdom sludge. Okay, so let's search for that. And then if I change this to AAA and hit save. Whoops. I don't know what I just did. I think I saved it to a file on disk. Yeah. So it will not save back to the code. How many testosteronies? I don't think many. Yeah, this is just in documentation. So that's it. This was more useful. Seems there wasn't a huge secret. Yeah, it's just nice when you're searching through a lot of results and you want to reject some quickly. That's all. All right, so now we have our format seconds thing, so I don't need this here. So anywhere that we had bb code functions format seconds in abilities, I want to go change to just this. It'll look a little bit cleaner. All right, that's everything. Now there are going to be .NET format things I can do. I still haven't even finished this task. It's going to always modify frozen debuff. I don't ever want it to do that. I got to figure out what I'm supposed to do about that. Soon this will show as a change. It'll put the braces on the next line. It's taking its time. Come on, bump it down. I know you want to. There it goes. Now I just hit save and it'll be a problem again in the future. Okay, so we got rid of all of these. Yeah, nice. Whew. All right, let's keep going. So this will be format seconds. And we have cooldown, comma, that. And same thing here. Cool. Yeah. So this is just going to be the duration. And then you get rid of the S here. Duration doesn't exist. Was it capitalized? What did I just do? Yeah, it was capitalized. Do we still have a problem with .NET format doing a different thing with an empty class? Yeah, I think so. Oh, and actually I hadn't thought of that. I guess we could just write in here intentionally empty or something like that. In fact, if we search for intentionally. Class intentionally left empty, yeah. That'll at least fix that. So cooldown 0 $. All right, well, we're making progress at least. Oh, man. It should know how to change this for me. Yeah, a lot of times it does. So this is a cooldown. Does it know how to do this? Nah, messed that one up. Yeah, it just randomly adds the formatting in. Hey, Raimu. How you doing? Wow. What a world we live in. Look at how fun this is. Look at how much fun I'm having. Well, we have 26 more of these results to get through. Now 25. I mean, it's going pretty fast. But like I said, this is one portion of the code base. So this one has a :0 there, which means not to use decimal places. Why though? Duration. Isn't this just hard coded to, yeah, it's 5. Oh, okay. Half what I type these days is results in your message failed to send. Really? Man, I wonder what's going on there. And I hope it's doing good okay, as opposed to just okay. Cursor would be good with this. VS Code, tab is meh compared to it. Yeah, I mean, I could also use like an actual AI model here. Oh, speaking of which, I wanted to try translations. Still need to make sure to try machine translations before my credits roll over on the 4th or something. Something like that. So this is always 5. How long is this? 7. Can that change? No, it can't change. This is just duration. Oh, yeah, we're going to have to look through kind of every tooltip at some point. This is why I'm glad we're doing this before the playtest stuff. Because even in doing this, I might mess up one of these things. Like, let's say there was a cooldown that was 1.5 seconds and I accidentally got it formatted as 1 second. That's a pretty big difference. We're chopping off a ½ second for something that's only 1.5 seconds. But if it was like a cooldown of 17.5 and I cut it down to 17, no one would notice. So some of this stuff, I want players to experience, even if it's just going to be in English, to see if I made a mistake there. Yeah. All right, so this is format seconds, but now this doesn't need to be in BB code functions, right? No, it doesn't. And interval in seconds :0. The interval in this case is an integer. Yeah, so we don't need to do that either. Man. Format seconds interval, nice. Anything over here? Yeah, here was. What is this? Cooldown select C equals infinite cooldown NA. This is for the garbage slime perk, which I mean I can see right there, recycler auto eat. So this is, what do I do? Text formatting strings dot duration in seconds. And then get rid of that. This NA needs to be translated. I don't know what we put this under. Maybe like NISC. I don't know. I don't know what category we should use that. Oh, we have 20 more results. This one doesn't matter. We don't need to actually do this one. This is the battle simulator. Waiting for full health. This isn't even translated. So I guess let's start with that. Let's do a translate call here. Translate doesn't exist though, so let's do a TR call here. And then I deleted a $sign. Yeah, I did. So now we need to format this correctly. So it'll be string.format. This gets replaced with 0. And then after our string.format call, we put this stuff, which is now going to be format seconds 0.0. Good. And then we just need format seconds. There, perfect. And that's not there anymore. Okay. Hey, Sarah. Did you customize your keyboard specifically for VS Code or everyday use? Maybe mixed? Asking more about the layer switch usage. So a lot of what I did was just based on like which keyboard shortcuts do I use on a regular basis. And then I actually kind of did things a little bit in reverse. So sometimes I customized VS Code based on the keyboard. So as an example, something I press pretty often is Control K or Command K, which in Chrome, or not Chrome, in Docs, email, a lot of note-taking programs is make the selected text into a link. So as an example here, I click this. Well, I can't show you here because it shows private stuff, I guess. But if we go to, can't show you email either. All right, I can't actually show this off. But anyway, there's a URL selector thing that you can make, of course, if you add a link. And I do that a lot. In VS Code, this is also the start of a chord. So sometimes I'll use chords now through this key I have on my keyboard for Control K. But yeah, in general, it's like, okay, what's a common scenario you might have? And it might be like, oh, hey, let's search for VS Code. So what do I tend to do that? Well, I need to move the cursor there. So arrow keys. So I'm in the nav layer and I move by word. So Alt is also in the nav layer. And then I select. So Shift is also in the nav layer. Then I copy. Because that's so frequent, I put that in my nav layer. Then I go to Chrome. Going to Chrome is also in there. Making a new tab is pressing paste and enter are both in that too. So I can basically do all of that from one layer. So nav, switch to VS Code, go to text, select, copy, go back to Chrome, open new tab, paste, enter. And yeah, I just hold my right thumb down for all of that stuff. And I can even close this tab and go back to VS Code while still being in the nav layer. So yeah, if you had something like that for symbols where you're like, oh, hey, I find myself typing function and then parentheses and curly braces, you could just make a key to type these 5 characters. And I made a key to type 3 backticks, for example. So that when I'm typing markdown blobs of like JavaScript or something, I can do that. But yeah, this is pretty minor. In general, I think you run into the problem of, do I prefer composition or like pre-made snippets? So some people, I mean, everyone knows about Control Shift Alt and your GUI key pretty much, but some people make combinations of these, like a meta key or a mech key or a hyper key, and hyper would be all of these things at once. And it's like, okay, well, you could have a hyper key, and so that way you just need to press one key on your keyboard for these, but then you lose the composability of being able to then swap to like, okay, I'm holding these 3 and pressing a key and then letting go of Alt and pressing another key and then holding the other 2. A problem is that I don't use anything other than Command C and Command V like a noob. Didn't even get more advanced when I tried to learn NeoVim. That's totally fine. I think this thing about typing code still kind of matters. And especially depending on your language, like in C# $ quotation mark is actually common enough. I do have to go to different layers for this. So I enter number to type $, and then my symbol to type a quotation mark. I've just never put them on the same layer. And it's not that big a deal. It's like I can still do this pretty quickly. But yeah, if I found myself typing that all the time, maybe I would put them in the same layer. Yeah, the JS is a hint about the language. Yep, exactly. So for example, here, do you see how this is syntax highlighted? That's because if you click this, you'll see backtick, 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 and then CS to indicate it's C# code. So if I change this to, let's say, Python, now it's trying to highlight it, but this isn't valid Python, so it doesn't know how to do that. If I type JS, for example, it highlights some of it, but kind of wrong. And whatever, C is probably pretty close to correct. But yeah, C# is what this should be. So you use the regular keys for those commands too, right? Like someone has the home row for Control Alt Shift. Yeah. I use the regular keys. They just happen to be in a layer. So my modifiers are in 2 spots, layers and combos. So for example, I type N plus E plus I and it makes command. So that's why every once in a while, I'll try to save a document and you'll see me accidentally type like IENS. That's because I didn't press these fast enough. I need to press all 3 at the same time and then press S and it'll go to save. And I have other hotkeys for that too. So like XD is also command and DH is also command. And then the only other, I have one dedicated mod, which is Shift. This is kind of weird for me because this is actually a multi-hand shortcut. You press both these keys at once, and now I have command press, so I can just press S and save. I don't use QWERTY, I use Colmac DH. So instead of QWERTY, I type QuiffPub. This is the left hand, and this is the right hand. There. That's my keyboard layout. So much to discover after learning how to type. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of customization you can do. And I've even seen people put certain letters into a layer. Like maybe they don't type Z all that often, so they don't even have it on their main layer on their keyboard. And maybe they put something more common there. Kind of funny when that happens. All right, so this is done. We don't need to look at that. So we have 14 results left. I definitely want to get through these. Oh, what is this? What is this nonsense? We go insane if I then try to use my laptop on the go. It's actually not too bad. In fact, I still type pretty well on a QWERTY keyboard. I just went to the library yesterday and was going through some notes. It's still pretty fast, pretty reasonable. All right, how do we do this? This is a time span in both minutes and seconds. And I don't have a formatting thing for this, but I guess we use format minutes, format seconds, and put the whole thing in it. I'm not going to touch this for right now. Yeah, let's do that. That'll just save me some time, right? But for this one, we will touch this. We will say BB code functions dot format seconds. So it's battle stats dot duration, like so. And then we'll just delete the other one for now. I just don't want to spend forever doing this. Same thing with this. I don't want to spend forever doing that one. So this one, though, we can change BB code functions format seconds, time span. That's apparently all we have to do. Why is there a %s? What is that? I have no idea what that is. %s. Did I type that? Was that already there? Spellbook? I could just look at the diff, but I just want to see here without a doubt what happened. %s. I don't know what that means. Huh. What does that mean? What? What is this? And the time span can't even be greater than 60. Although we shouldn't count on that always being the case. I don't know what this is. Oh, maybe it's getting the... Oh, never mind. I think I know what's happening. It's something specifically for time spans to get the seconds component of it, probably. And this is to get the minutes component. So there must be some time span formatting codes somewhere, and they don't show up in here because we don't look at time span. Yeah, standard time span format strings. Ah, this is where we probably find %s. Well, I would have expected it to be there. Custom time span. Aha, yes, this is it. Okay. Got it. Do you wish you'd done this from the start rather than having to go back and shoehorn it in? So here's how I look at this stuff. You know, the saying hindsight is 20/20 is like, if I knew what I know now, would I do something differently? Or would I have done something differently? And in this particular case, the answer is yes. But here was the big variable here, which is this game even worth pursuing? So let's say we developed it for a month and it's so-so. Then we just release in English and then we move on. Obviously, that's not what happened. Development took a long time. So it would have been worthwhile now that we know that the game is worth releasing to have done this. But I didn't know that ahead of time. And if we had thrown all this stuff out, like the localization would have added a little bit of a tax to everything. So every time you type a string, you know, it takes X seconds on average. Adding the localization stuff adds maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10%, depending on what you're doing. Sometimes it adds a lot more. And sometimes it's just writing a translate call around it. So yeah, maybe making a new feature where I'm like heavily putting, you know, multi-line strings there. I would have needed another 10 minutes or something at the end of it. And it's like, well, if you're going to throw away the code eventually, that 10 minutes isn't worth spending. So yeah, this is tough. I think in the future, I think even if I don't know how a project will do, I think I will consider some of this from the get-go. Why don't people understand and rather listen to Adam's voice? Maybe I can be in these meetings. Half the fun of watching engineers code. Yeah, percent SS for seconds. Tailor than many. Read most printer manufacturers have a hidden dot matrix style print, including everything that printer actually prints. Oh, you know what that's called is steganography. Steganography. Yeah. Putting all the strings in separate files, isn't that cumbersome? I've always heard that's easy best practice to add later. So in this case, what we're doing is if we wrap something in a translate call, it will automatically be put into a translation file later. So we use this tool called xgettext, and it searches for every call of translate. In fact, I can show you how this works here. Yeah. So we look for translate plural, tr, trn, translation server.translate. So it'll find any of those instances in the code and then just spit them into a file here so that now in Spanish, you'd be able to write like the string in Spanish and you'd just be done. You don't need to write any new code. You don't need to change anything. You just save this file on disk and you're finished. So the amount of difference it would be to type hello versus translate hello is negligible. This is why I was saying, you know, there's more characters, sure. So you are changing your, you know, 2 seconds of typing into 2.7 seconds or something. But it's practically the same. But where it gets more difficult is when you have these multi-line formatted strings, like wherever we were just looking at minutes and seconds here. Let me revert this for a sec. So yeah, this is a decent example, but it's not great. I think the better one is here. Yeah. So here, for example, we have a string. We have many strings. These are all actually in different labels. But if this was all one mega string, we'd have to like properly form this thing and translate it and everything. All right, take care, Mitch. Quick drop in. All right, so back to fixing this. So what are we doing here? We're getting the seconds component and the minutes component. I wonder what happens if you try getting the minutes component from something that doesn't have minutes. Let's go find out. It'll probably just be 0. I can't imagine it's gonna be something different. So from seconds to, and where does time span come from? System? Yeah, probably system. So time span from seconds to, now we just do console.writeLine $, time span %s. So this should print 2. Yeah, but if I do an M, it should print 0. Yeah, okay. I'll make this easier. Int minutes equal. Why do we do this? Why don't we just say get minutes or something? Because there's a minutes thing here. Why didn't I do this? Huh. I don't know why I use the custom string formatters for that. Number of whole seconds. Oh, maybe because if you just do minutes, it can return. No, it's int. Huh. I think they're the same. Yeah, the hello.t is less code, but then it doesn't work with xgettext. Xgettext requires a very specific format, which is a function name and then a literal string. Or literal strings. So if you do something like string.function name and you have an extension, xgettext won't find it. If you do function name and then a string variable, it won't find it. So So it's got to be in this format and nothing else. Is the translate syntax a Godot thing? Yeah. Godot calls it translate and TR. Other ones could just call it something else. Yeah. All right, so I think we can just use timespan.minutes here and timespan.seconds and then change this to this and then format this even more easily. VB code functions.format seconds. I assume this will work. Let's go test it. This is also a good way to test to see if this still builds because I've been messing around with everything. So this is a spell book for the remaining seconds. So all we need to do is cast a spell and it should say 30s and then 29s and so on and so forth until it's 0 and then stops existing. Yeah. It's looking good. I wonder what will happen when it hits 0. I mean, it should be fine. What do we have? 18 seconds. Okay, let's speed that up a little bit. 5 seconds. Okay, let's look at it. I think it says 0s. Also, that's fine even if it does. I don't really care. Yeah, that's fine. And it probably always did that. Hey, bats. Parse for strings, extract, translate, yeah. The thing is, we could write our own tool that searches for like a hello.t and just finds, oh, hey, this is called on this. But I don't think it'd be fun to write that tool. So I'll just use xgettext. All right, so that one's done. Let's go to the next one. We have 11 more of these things. This is going to be format seconds. The :0 duration of spells is always in seconds, yeah. Okay, done with that. Are these all going to be the same? Yeah, nice. I can just replace them all. Dunzo. Except for faux potions. Format seconds. There we go. All right, what is this? Format, I'm not even touching this. I don't care. All right, then we're done. When you just don't do certain tasks, you can finish much sooner. We still have to do it at some point. I just don't want to do it now. I want to do the easy stuff now. All right, so ideally, we would go through every single place in the code, every single place in the game, I mean, and we'd make sure that these look good. So let's cover a couple of them. Maybe we'll just kind of sample like every third one or every fifth one or something and make sure that they're good. So where's this? Words of wisdom. Bless the entire party. I think we already looked at that one. Yeah. All right, let's look at the next one. Taunt. Yep. All right, let's scroll down to another one. Cat spirit. Yep. We're just looking at the seconds. Dog spirit. Whoops, I didn't mean to click that. Yep, that's fine too. So it says, you see in the tooltip, it says 4S and 5S in bold. That's it. That's all we're checking for. Just making sure it doesn't say like 5.00 seconds or something. All right, gravel. I don't know where gravel is. There it is. Every 2S. Yep, sounds good. All right. We also shouldn't ever see something like every 2SS, meaning that I already had a seconds there and then I kept the other one. All right, what are we looking at now? Holy light, holy blessing. Holy blessing, 0, 4, and 5. Sure. I should technically say NA. I think it's okay, though. I'm not going to do anything about that. Preparedness, I think we looked at that one. Let's look at the next one. Quicker strike. Quicker strike. Nice. And snake spirit. Where is snake spirit? Here. Every 1.7 seconds. Cool. Auto fishing. We can't look at those very easily. Yeah, I can't look at any of those very easily. End battle screen. We should definitely check that one out. So we need to send these into a battle that they hopefully lose. I guess against a Yeti. That's a guaranteed loss. and we look at the duration. So they'll die in 4 seconds. Done. Yep, that's a problem. That's a problem. Nothing's easy. Nothing's ever easy. We could just make this into a rich text label, I guess. And then the seconds would be in bold, which might not look bad even. Let's go try it. What is it called? Health bar. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so we need to change this into a rich text label. How about this? Let's duplicate this. And let's make it into change type, rich text label. And then go change a bunch of stuff. So set via code, BB code enabled. We're going to make this bold. I just want to see what bold text looks like in here. And then fit content and don't wrap. And then vertically center it. And then why is it the wrong color? Oh, because it gets the font information. Oh, God. Can you just right click and change type? That's what I did. It doesn't actually preserve the settings when you do that. Like if I just click this and go to change type and say rich text label, you'll see the text disappear. Well, it still has the same text. Sorry, it doesn't have fit content and everything else. So yeah, I needed to change other things. Okay, so I think we should approach this from the other end then, which is changing format seconds to not necessarily bold the number. So there should be like a format and bold maybe. At which point maybe we just shouldn't be calling this for that one case, because in every other case we do want this to be bold. Man. Okay, so format seconds. I guess let's look through this. This is where this should be pretty easy to find. So for any abilities, I don't care about this. All abilities should be bold. But this one should not be. This is fine. Anywhere that there's also BB code around it is totally fine. Yeah, this has BB code there too. So that's fine too. End battle screen. Oh, this is for the duration. Yeah, which is good. It's not in bold though, is it? How is that working? That's strange. I don't think that's bold. End battle screen. Duration. It's a rich text label with BB code enabled, so I guess it is bold. 4.7. Oh, it said bold doesn't do anything. Why not? Did we not set a bold font? Huh. Maybe we don't. But then shouldn't it just be used by default? Bold. Well, I don't know what's happening there, huh? Or maybe it's all bold always? But that text doesn't look bold. Something's wrong. Oh, no, never mind. Nothing's wrong. I just didn't have a bold font set. Okay, yeah, I think that's the problem. So if I turn this off, yeah, that is the problem. So that means that the theme doesn't say a bold font for this. That seems like a mistake. But it doesn't seem like an important mistake, so let's just leave it as is for now. But adding an overload to that formatter, making it bold makes sense. It could, but I don't think there's anywhere we really need. Like this is specifically a BB code function thing. So if you're not using BB code, you wouldn't call into BB code functions. And I'm trying to make sure that that's the case for all of this stuff. So this one's fine. How's this one? I think we already looked at this and I think it was fine. Yeah, it's now in bold. Yeah, I don't know if it's always in bold, but that's good. I don't think it was before this. Oh yeah, sure, fine. Any other ones? Where did the search results go? No, where did they go? No. Oh man. I don't know. All right, well, let's just open the editor again. Yeah, so this needs to change the regeneration progress bar. And then these are all probably fine. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I just got to go fix this one, which should just be whatever this is calling underneath it anyway, which is just this. String.format, text formatting strings duration in seconds. And we format it with this time left. And then do something else. Oh, man. I'm missing something. I don't know how to get the 0.0 in there. Didn't I do this for something else already? Yeah, like this. Hey, Mohit Kumar. Just saw your keyboard video and it changed the way I configure my keyboard. Thank you so much. Yeah, glad it could help. I want to make some more content in the coming weeks, maybe like 2 weeks, but I need to find the time. And like today's going to be super busy. Tomorrow's going to be busy. And I really want to get this back into play testing too. So maybe next week. Yeah, I got to catch up on some of this stuff. All right, so this is what I think we want here. String.format, we take that and we do 0.0, yeah. And then that becomes a formatting string that we use for this, which is like super weird. Yeah, this is very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. I think it'll work. So we just do that same battle that we were doing before. Throw the rogue into the Yeti fight and speed this up a little bit. No, that doesn't work. Oh, because we have curly braces. Okay, take two. Gonna do that same thing. Gonna speed this up. It's still wrong. Oh, that was supposed to be a dot, not a... Oh my god. I'm just not applying any brain power to this whatsoever. I definitely don't like these formatting things, though. Why do you start from VS Code and not Godot? Just because I'm usually in VS Code already, and I have a shortcut to go back to VS Code quickly. And if I ever want to debug, I can do it through VS Code, but not through Godot. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, this. There we go. Yeah, now it's looking good. So to my keyboard with one tap and configuration is actually smooth. Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with one tap. Or maybe you mean the tap dance stuff? That I'm familiar with. Yeah, I don't see what one tap is, but yeah, I don't generally like, I think dual function keys are frustrating for me. At least the kind where you differentiate via press and hold. I think that's difficult. And for those who can't imagine this, like your shift key is when you hold it, it does something different afterward. But imagine if pressing it would like type a J or something like that, or an M. Yeah, sure, whatever. So it's like now in order to type the word joke, you have to press shift and then O and then K and then E. But if you accidentally hold shift too long, you end up typing oak with a capital O. So that's the problem I have with a lot of dual function keys. And tap dancing, in the form of a keyboard at least, is when you press something and it does something like types a J, and then you press it twice and it does something else. So maybe it, whatever, types a whole sentence or something like that. And maybe you even do it where you like press it 3 times and it does some other third function here. So yeah, that's a dual or a tri-function key, and I don't tend to like those yet. All right, so I want to note this down somewhere because I think this is so unwieldy, and there might be a slightly better way to write this. Wait, how does that end up with an S at the end of it? I don't think I even understand this. The toString can put an S afterward. Shouldn't I have it be formatting this formatted with, okay, I think I can write this like this too. toString.format calls. And then over here we put this. Does that not work? It might work. So I'm a little afraid of getting into all the QMK stuff. I just made basic layering in VIA with just switching layers on hold. Oh, I think that's mostly fine. I think, honestly, the only real advanced QMK stuff I'm doing is like conditional LED stuff and some very special like keys that do something based on which modifier is held. So as an example, this thumb key, if I press shift, it'll open a new tab or a new buffer. But if I press command, it will, I'm not actually even sure what it'll do because I'm trying to recite this and not just use my muscle memory here. And if I press the control key, it will do a find action. So like this key does something different based on what comes before it. Yeah, these combos and other commands on regular keys. Oh, you can't do combos in VIA? Okay, that would be frustrating. VIA keyboard customization combos. Supported keywords docs. They don't show what features they support. Is there a search? Huh. Yeah, maybe they don't support that. No, I don't see something in here. I guess we could, well, I don't have a device that I could authorize. Key tester settings. Yeah. Oh, wow. So yeah, I was going to test this. Does this work? Let's try it. Because this looks, I think, slightly nicer maybe. We just need to enter a battle and then die. No, that doesn't work. Huh, weird. Okay, well, let's just set it back to what it used to be, which we know works. Yeah. So this and the other one that we had, 0.0, 0:0, yeah, these two. I want to save both of these off. Okay. So passing a duration into a column. The specific call is a bit strange. a custom formatted. So it's that. I'd love to write this somewhere. Maybe I should just write it on text formatting strings. So we could do, this is some number, or I guess like a duration. Dot toString, string dot format. How to use this. We probably should just have a function for that, right? Impact, yeah, that's what we should do. That way this isn't confusing at all. This just keeps getting harder and harder, doesn't it? All right, let's, before I mess everything up, let's go figure out what I just edited. Is there a regen timer? Where is that? Regen progress bar. Okay, so I want this file open, and I want actually just this file. So let's close everything else. In fact, let's do this way. So regen progress bar. And I want to do what I did over here. Is this the same? String.format. And we do it on a toString that we would have done before this with extra format params. And we know that it's a number in that case. Public static string get duration in seconds. Or like formatted. String format. And it's going to resemble this. This isn't going to work. Yeah, this isn't going to work. But whatever. Let's at least just get it to look like this. And we're going to take a thing to format, which I guess should be a number. It should just be a thing with a toString. Value. Maybe object value. And then return value dot toString. Is this valid? Oh, I would love for this to work. The syntax highlighting is broken though, and I've had to reload VS Code like 10 times today. So it's hard to know if it's broken or what. I do rely on syntax highlighting at a glance to see that everything's okay. When everything's like bright red. Yeah, so that's, I assume something is wrong. This is going to complain about, yeah, the lack of another argument. And this is in seconds, so I guess we can just do number format info dot current info. Does that not work? What do we need to make this? Some like T colon T, where T is I formatable. Can you even do this? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, the colon goes here. Okay, now what? Oh, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure this out. I don't know what I'm doing. I thought, yeah, now we just need a format provider, right? Number format info dot current. Hey, we did it. Would you ever have a different format? Yeah, in one case we have a 0 dot number sign. Yeah. And we could in the future have other ones. But yeah, if we only had one or two, well, I guess we have three. We could just put all three in here somewhere. So that's what this beast of a function will look like. I don't think I like this. But I think it'll work. So all we would need to use this now is to change this to text formatting strings dot duration we take the time left and do that. This definitely looks a lot nicer from the call side. So let's try it and see if it works. If it does work, maybe we just leave it. It's actually the only thing calling this right now. And I was planning on using this for my other, like my BB codes functions thing, but I don't think it'll work for another reason that I've since forgotten. So I'll go look at it and make sure that it won't work. So I don't want to come to the wrong conclusion here. Yeah, this looks good. All right, well, that's just kind of rough. And we need it to look like this. We can't just do value here. No, we can. Do we need this T here? Can we do this differently? Can I just say this is an object? Okay, so it needs to be an I-formatable. What is this? Provides functionality to format the value of an object into a string representation. It says or null reference to obtain the numeric format information from the current locale. What? It says you can provide null, but then it doesn't let you provide null? I find that bizarre. Had like 100 open tabs for sure. It looked horrible. Yeah, I don't usually have so many tabs open. But in localizing, I tend to like fix one file and then just find the next search result. Fix that file, find the next search result. And then at the end of all of it, I usually close everything. Okay. So call this when you want special formatting on a duration, e.g. to show 1.234 seconds instead of when passing in 1.2345. Yeah. Hey, Toulouse. Could you change the parameter to be? Oh, yeah, that's true. That should work. And then we don't need this. And then we also don't need this or this. Okay, that does look a lot better. Thank you. In fact, why did I use this for this code? Why isn't this just an I number? Is that not? Oh, because I number is genericized? Ah, yes. Okay, that's why. And this is not a genericized thing. Yeah, good. Whew. Yeah, great. We're doing great. So the last little puzzle here is, can I call this function duration in seconds formatted? Can I call this from here? And I think the answer is no, because of this number bit, not even potentially returning a string. And if it's null, we need to return empty. We could do it. We just need to call toString twice, I think. I don't know. Let's just try calling it and see what happens. String. No, this will. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Let's just not. Yeah, whatever. Let's not. Okay, so there are all of our changes. We looked through some of them. We did not look through other ones. We might find some funky surprises somewhere. Hey, Kaputzi. Not sure if you thought about this, but your translators will have more context if you just have meaningful values instead of 0 or 1, and then just use string replace, which will also be safer and won't require positioning. So I have thought about it, and there's a trade-off. So we used to actually have a thing that would replace this with like deal damage over duration. And yes, then people would know what this refers to. But there were a couple things about this. One is, what is the pipeline for developers that we use? Another is what shows in the tooling that we have, which is currently Weblate. And this has some checks around like C# specific strings. And there was something else too. So for example, if we look at, I just need to find any string that has a parameter in it. And it really shouldn't take long. Oh, there's one. Yeah. So if we look at this, so bless the entire party, making them act some amount faster for this. Yeah, there's no way to know that this one is a duration. It could be a condition that has to be met or something. But then, yeah, when we're using this tool, if we say like, whatever this is in Spanish, it'll actually, I don't think it'll even let me try to save because I'm not logged in. Oh, I'm logged in. Oh my God. Like that shouldn't have worked. Oh man. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. But anyway, it does say that there's a C# formatting error here. So this tool knows about us not using the 0 and 1 things. Oh God, how do I undo this? It says it's been saved. I don't want to save it at all. I guess we just delete it. And just write needs editing on here. So now the history of this is going to be bonkers. Yep. Oh man. I was just trying to demo what would happen. Can I like delete this? What does this button do? Block user. Well, I'm glad I didn't click that. I can't undo this. Revert. Oh, there we go. And then revert this too. Revert. Oh, the reversions are going in the history. How do I back out of all this? Oh no. I don't know how to fix this. So basically you're limited by your tool. No, it's not just that. Like I said, the developer experience would be different too. So you like we had a whole bunch of stuff. We were using source generators to take those strings with, let's say, damage in them and turn them into functions saying like get message with, they'd be objects in this case, and then make sure this returns the translated string that we'd have. So this would be like return translate, and it would say 0 damage, and then plug in, I guess it would string.format this, and then do something like that. And yeah, so developer experience wasn't great. The tool doesn't just work out of the box with this. And I don't think it really helps too much because translators do need context, and it doesn't just have to come from the parameters inside the string. It can come from a picture alongside the string. It can come from seeing what the English string was or what the rest of the strings in that file do. So yeah, in the end, I think it'd be nice to have named parameters for this, and there wasn't a quick, easy way to do it. I've been making random edits. Yeah, I am just going to do this then. Let's just hit save and stay and needs editing there. So yes, I messed this up and it's just going to be in the history now. And there's nothing we can do about that. There probably is something we can do about it. We can probably go in here somewhere and like, I think in here, repository maintenance. Let me look at this off screen for a sec. 4 pending changes. Can I like not commit these? I don't think you can. Oh wait, yeah. Reset all changes to match upstream and discards any pending changes. Use when you want the upstream to be the authority. It will discard changes and bring it in sync with the upstream. Yeah, let's reset. Okay, I clicked the button. Hopefully that worked. Now, what string was I even modifying there? That I wrote whatever this is in Spanish? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not even gonna look at this. Hey, Digit. Never done localization in Godot. Do you need to do stuff manually there? Not too much. I mean, other than the translations. But the problem is you do need to mention that you're going to translate a particular string. So you'd write like translate hello, and you're pretty much finished. The problem is we have a bunch of strings that do not have a translate call around them. So imagine you just say something like, some label dot text equals hello. This is a problem because now it's going to use the hard-coded English string hello There's no adornment around this to tell it to use something different. So yeah, we do need to change these to something like this. And in this specific example, that's it. We're done. That's all we would need to do. But in a lot of other examples, we need to keep track of formatting, of numbers, of strings, BB code formatting, and potentially like conditional formatting. How do you type and navigate code fast? Can you make a video about the full walkthrough of your keyboard? I can write this down. I don't know if I'll do a video on it, but I'll give you just a quick overview. So for one, the navigation of code, some of it is just VS Code features that I'm using. Things like switching tabs, the command palette, so Command P to go to a file, Command R to go to a function. And then some of it is Hammerspoon for the operating system. This is because I'm on Mac OS and Mac doesn't have a built-in like GUI +1 to go to a particular app. So I just set this up so that Command 1 goes to Chrome, Command 3 goes to VS Code, Command 5 goes to my terminal, Command 2 goes to Finder, and 4 goes to Obsidian. So I can switch between these very fast and any apps that I have. And then, yeah, I just have my keyboard set up to make those shortcuts a little bit easier. I think they've added something to globally hook into formatted string. By the way, can you try not segmenting your messages in this chat? As in whatever damage can be hooked into globally. I'm not sure about that for C#. The documentation for Godot at least didn't have something about that. But either way, I I just changed a whole bunch of these things over the code base, and I've spent like hours and hours and hours changing it. I want to see how this goes. Unfortunately, like I haven't gone through the translation process myself before. I've only worked on other code bases that just had translation already and then just didn't really have to think about it. BB code is the old forum style formatting. And when you see it, you might have used this before, but it's not like nice to use in my opinion. So like this, for example, you bold a word by putting an opening bold tag and a closing bold tag. It's like a worse version of Markdown. And it was meant for non-technical people. So it's a little bit easier to see a color tag and know that it's color as opposed to seeing something that might be in Markdown, which Markdown doesn't really have color stuff. But bold, for example, in Markdown would be just asterisks. So for someone who's never done formatting via text before, like this could be a little bit foreign for them. Write a custom string interpolation handler. So the other thing that we're doing here, and we're using getText, more specifically xgetText, to like find all of the translated strings in the code base. I didn't want to make this part harder as well. So yeah, as a result, this is what we settled on. And this was like weeks ago, so I am trying to remember this and give you the context of this stuff. And yeah, in the end, if translators have a hard time with this, or if whatever has a hard time, the machine translations that we use, then I will need to do something different. But it's probably not going to be change the entire translation mechanism at this point. All right, so are we looking okay? And then, wow, I did not mean to click that. That would have been so frustrating. What was this for? Ah, yeah, the text formatting that we did. So there was something in here that is not part of any of this. Frozen debuff. Where's that? This. Yeah, this. So prevent .NET format from finding this file. Yeah, that's its own entire change. But everything else should be part of the localization changes that we have here. And I'm going to scroll through pretty quickly. I can't imagine there's too much different here because this is all I intended to work on. I mean, so far, it's definitely the case that it's only translation stuff. Or formatting, which was for the sake of translation. Yeah, again. And normally I'd look through every single line here, but just for localization, I haven't been doing that. If we find a problem as we're playing, then we find a problem as we're playing. And then even fix everything technically. And I did not address the minutes for these things too. I also want to run .NET format before I check this in, which we could go do now while I'm looking at this. Oh, except for that makes this more annoying, doesn't it? How fun. All right, any other files here? No. Okay. Yeah, we're looking good. You hear pass parameters from that. Use as a work to at work to prevent SQL injection. Yeah, no, I appreciate the ideas and everything. The calls being different translate a formatted string versus a non-formatted string. It's when does the formatting happen? So when you have a $ string, you are running the formatting before the translation. So yeah, if you do this. Whereas the way that we do things is we run the translation before the formatting. So this is what we ended up using, and this is not what we ended up using. And my at least thinking for this is that way, well, again, there's a lot of things that went into this, and it was weeks ago, and we might even still use this style in some cases, but I'm trying to think why we would. Anyway, I don't know for sure if there's a problem yet with this. And like I said, if it turns out that I better not have any changes here. If it turns out that we're trying to get strings translated and people look at anything in here and they're like, I don't know what to do for this. Like, yeah, I guess it'd have to be something that has a formatting parameter. Yeah, so bless the entire party, making them act faster for 1. Yeah, so I could just throw in a picture and I guess it'd be fine. But we'll see what those struggles end up being. All right, so did this find a problem? It did. It found this one. That's okay. I'm gonna check this in. So format durations properly. We had the specific string S in the code base, meaning we had a duration that we assumed would have an S tacked onto it for all languages. I've since shifted to format seconds for this. Anything else? Yeah, so now we should do the same thing for minutes. We only have 12 of these. I'm not even going to do all of them. Like this, I'm not going to touch. I'm just going to do the ones that are very obvious and easy. So like this can be format minutes. And then we just say time limit. There. Let me reload this because VS Code stop syntax highlighting this. It probably, is it going to work? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, nice. All right, so next, new customers appear every so often. This should just be format minutes. This is not an ability. Oh, okay. Okay, looks good. Time span, minutes and seconds. I didn't do anything about this. We're just going to leave that as is for now. What is this one? Loaded all resources in number of milliseconds. This is just a print statement. I actually don't have a problem with this. We're never going to translate that. What is this? Same basic deal, but we don't have a format minutes and seconds. I'll leave that too for now. Like I said, I just want to tackle the easy stuff. All right, that one's fine. That one's not great. And that's it. Okay. So that was our very simple change. We modified what, 2 files? Yeah. And we could just look at these. Oh, this one's a little bit harder because this doesn't exist in the code anymore. But the first one does. It says objective earn gold in a certain amount of time. Yeah, I think this shows in bone mode at the upper left. I'm not actually sure. Earn 500 gold to win. Where does this show? Is it on the title screen? I don't know where this even shows up. Difficulty data. String in here. Where is this used? It says objective, earn some amount of money in a certain time limit, and then the constraints. I thought that would be up at the top left. I don't see the word objective up there. I don't think this shows up in the code at all then. We probably just never call this. And pressing F12 on this doesn't bind anything. It says 0 references. But I don't know if we can rely on that. Yeah, I don't think we use this anymore. Huh. Giuseppe, thanks for the resub. Happy 7 months. All right, well, should I just delete this? How about this? Let's say throw new exception hello. Yeah. And just see, was that happening somewhere? Am I going crazy? As mentioned, the code showed it had no references, so it shouldn't matter. It had to be in here somewhere. So either in a tooltip, it wouldn't be in here. These are the upgrades and everything. Maybe if we hit start, I just start hovering over things and we win. And I hover over these things. So did an exception print out anywhere? No. So I'm going to assume this isn't used and we're going to delete it, which means we might want to look at, is the time limit used anywhere? And that should be. And a constraint string should be as well. This is probably where we moved things to. What does this used to say? Used to have the time limit. There's target time breakdown. What is that? That's time elapsed. Does this know about the limit? Oh, there's no limit anymore. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. What is that even? Time limit? What is that? Just to make sure we're talking about the same thing, since I was a bit confused when you said whether we translate before or after, sort of what it meant. Let me paste this because the Twitch doesn't allow for formatting in messages, unfortunately. And this. Can I format this? No, unfortunately. Okay, then let me put this here. I can actually read what this is. Var 4. Okay. I don't see a difference between these two code blocks other than the return being on here. I wonder if you meant to paste. Oh, second message. Yeah, yeah. All right. I thought you were comparing the two at first, and I was like, there's no actual difference. Yeah, so let's see what we're doing here. Go through the arguments in the formatted string. I guess this is what formatted string exposes. And yeah, do this. Okay, so wait, let me think about that. I want to look this up. How much flexibility do you have in making your own structure for this? Because they have the arguments here provided somewhere. Yeah, argument count, composite format, get arguments. Do they have an example here of using this? Because I think what you're saying is you could use a custom formatted string of something like this, which C# doesn't let you do by default. You can have access to the value of argument inside that method. Formattable string, which is mapped to that. Yeah, I see what you mean. So, what was I gonna say? Let me think about this. So we'd have a translate call essentially like this. We'd wrap our... Sorry, hang on, I'm thinking about this. Because we had the Godot translate. I should probably just call this something like new translate. And that eventually needs to be called with literal strings. So we would do... Yeah, we do something like this. Translate on our... No, we'd run that through new translate afterward, I guess. So this couldn't... Yeah, I don't know how we do this with xget text. Also, please do try to pay attention to the segmenting rule. I will time you out next time. I recognize you're trying to help, but there are only 2 rules in chat. I already tried to warn you once. Yeah, so we are using something called xget text, and I think I might have mentioned this, but it requires you to be in this structure. Or we'd have to write something else to get all the strings from our code base. And I don't think that would work with this unless... Because now this wouldn't be a formatted string anymore that this returns. So we need something else for fetching strings in the code base. Anyway, this is also part of what played into the decision for this a while ago. I didn't want to write a custom tool to parse the abstract syntax tree of C# and pull out all the strings that we use when they're variables or constants or read-only. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, what is done right now at least is done. And if translators don't have a problem, then there's no issue with what this is. If translators end up with a problem where they're like, I don't know what this thing represents, we could even address it with just comments around these things. Like I could write something like I18N, the second param is duration. So yeah. Okay, so time limit. What is time limit here? I think this was the recommended time that we pass in. And I think if we go to like all difficulty data, we'll see this. Yeah. These are times in minutes. So they aren't technically limits. And now this isn't used anywhere. Which means there's probably an issue somewhere. Or we... No, what? We must do something differently. Huh. I guess I don't understand. How do we get the time breakdown then on the end screen? Get target time breakdown. Yeah. Get medal earned. And then get the target times. I don't know where that is then. Oh, there it is, time limit. Okay, VS Code is like consistently breaking for some reason. I try looking at this and yeah, I've got to figure out what's going on there with me needing to reload this like 7 times in a stream. So this is what I was trying to find, is what references this, and it said nothing originally, and now I see that it's 3 places. So yeah, well, this should be fine, because nothing was using this toString anyway. And we can delete these. Yeah, so to clarify here, just to make this quick, I guess, xgetText is just a console thing that it's a binary on the machine that will go through files, and it understands certain things about certain languages. So for C#, it understands things exactly in the format of a method name. So it knows that this is a method, and then it gets a literal string inside of it. And anything else, so it'll find this, and it will not find something like this. So if we have code that says const string str variable equals hello, and then we say return translate string variable, and then we say go generate all of the translated strings for this code. And again, just to be clear, this is xgetText, so it's a binary on your machine. You can think of it like gettext.exe or something like that. It will not find hello in this case, because this is a string literal outside of a translate call. So in order to pull all of the translated strings into that tool that I was showing Weblate earlier, we need to use xgetText or write our own tool. I just didn't want to write my own tool. Hey, Strawn. All right, so this is replacing minutes with the same way. Format minutes correctly. I only did this for the easy calls. This is very similar to the prior commit with seconds, with formatting seconds correctly. Also, I think difficulty data.toString was unused. I had it throw an exception. I made it throw an exception, but never saw it print out. So I think it's safe to delete. Cool. Hey, Vicente. You program C++? I know how to program C++. I just don't. This on stream is C# that we're doing. Okay. I guess we should rerun the generate call. I actually don't really care about doing that right now. So this stuff is kind of done, but not really. There are still some strings that need to be localized there. Where do I have that written down? Find every other string in the code base. Yeah, so search, excuse me, for that and that. Since there are some time spans I didn't feel like touching yet. All right, so this is done for now. This is done for now. This is done. Oh. So yeah, I wrote down some of the next examples. I mean, it's pretty much lunchtime. Yes, it's about noon. So if we went into counterattack, there's a description here that's just a hard-coded string. So at some point, we're going to need to say to translate this. And writing translate around this is not hard, but then we need to also put the string.format calls and put them in correctly. So yeah, I got to still do that stuff. I might do some of this stuff on stream tomorrow, even though it's boring and tedious and who cares. And yeah. Partial class messages. I don't have any of these, do I? No. So this is done. Money messages. I don't think any of this exists. Yeah. No. Huh. Okay. Search for public partial class. There's only be like 3 of these. Okay, there are way more of those than I thought. Oh, right, because every Godot node needs them. All right, what I meant by 3 is 3 are the ones where I actually use it outside of a Godot context. Oh, God, this is going to be very annoying, isn't it? Like, this is not a Godot context, so partial is technically not needed. So we could just delete that and the code would still build. If it wasn't tedious, it wouldn't be work. Well, some work is fun or has a puzzle for you to solve or something. Well, I stream after lunch. I don't plan on it today. I've got to get a haircut too at some point. And yeah, I don't like interrupting the stream to go have an appointment if I know about it ahead of time at least. Hey, Sinistella. Yeah. And nice, strong. Yeah, so this build. So yeah, there are a lot of these that can be changed. These used to have to be partial because of our source generators, and now they don't have to be. And technically anything, I guess we can just search for partial dot star ability. And every single one of these can probably change. Yeah, in fact, if I take this out of there and do this, I want to just replace like 5 of these and see what happens. There. Okay. We should still be able to build. Because then I can just do a blanket find and replace. Yeah, it built. All right. Well, I am very hungry. So I can do this work afterward. And I might as well bump this to the top. So yeah, I will fill out the journal here. So worked on localization, formatted durations. What else did I do? I don't remember any of this stuff. I didn't push everything anyway. Yeah, none of this was pushed. And this is the wrong branch. What is it? More localization? One commit. What is that one commit? Oh yeah, remove source generators. And then what else did I do? Git log minus 10. Minutes, durations, source generators. Yeah, that was pretty much it. All right, well, not a ton of progress. Move source generators. Oh, okay. So again, top priorities are still the getting ready for playtesting and getting ready for launch. And playtesting is currently blocked on art, and the getting ready for launch is going to be a combination of playtesting, of course, and then the translations and then remaining features. We will eventually get to some of these like controller support, achievements, the rest of bone mode. But I think we're going to focus on the translation stuff because I think getting this work done as soon as possible is probably the best idea, even though it's a lot of grunt work. So let's go find someone to raid. And then call it. I have not raided Cavino in a little bit. Let's go give him some love. Yeah, tomorrow should be a full day of streaming. So thank you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll probably do localization. And let's go check out Cavino. Thank you all for being here. Take care. See ya.